I would like to begin this episode by thanking some people. People like Fromaginator, Paul Rogers, and Old Man Varney. All of these are people who have gone to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and kicked us some money, help support this show and a whole network of shows like it. You can be like them, go there and get cool stuff in return. Once again, that is patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are continuing our discussion of Shadowrun Hong Kong, the CRPG developed and published by Harebrained Schemes for the PC in 2015.
Yeah. And this is part two. As always, I imagine somebody on this wide world just listens to the part twos of these, but it will make more sense if you go back and listen to the last episode.
It's the recommended use case, but I'm not your dad, so.
No, you've downloaded this. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, we already got the number. It's fine.
Yeah. What did we do last time, Cole?
Well, just last time, because this is a game where you're doing a bunch of jobs, it's really just the setup. We arrived at Hong Kong looking for our adoptive / foster father, Raymond, only to find that he is possibly dead. There was shooting near him. And an APB has been put out for us, driving us underground. We're looking for him, and we are working shadow runs, doing crimes for a fixer named Auntie Cheng in the slum of Hoi, which is at the foot of the Kowloon walled city, where some bad chi is leaking out. Yeah,
we've gathered our party, so we have the entire crew that we're going to be using for things, and we're going to get into it. It's that good Shadowrun that everybody looks for Raymond. The Duncan. So we just came back from a mission just now where we went and got Gaishu.
Yes.
Our final team member. When we return, Auntie Cheng radios us, our fixer. She's very excited. She has something that she wants to tell us, but not over the comms. Right. So she has us come to her mahjong parlor.
Yeah. The reason why not over comms is she has information that she got illicitly from the police. She plays for us the snippet of a conversation between this mysterious plastic-faced man, the person who we believe killed Raymond, and Crate, the lead of the special task force assigned for coming after us. I believe that Crate is the villain of the extended, like the add-on missions for this.
Yes. Yeah, if I recall. Yeah. Just a reminder, we're not covering those this episode. I have played them before and liked them, but I did not replay them for this because I've played Shadowrun Hong Kong a bunch of times.
No.
So the plastic-faced man is yelling at Crate. We find out that the reason why they want us dead is we might know something. They want to make sure that doesn't get out. But also, he reveals that his client's name is Josephine, and this means something to Auntie Cheng. This is Josephine Seng, who is the CEO of Seng Mechanical Services. She is the one who had the contract to rebuild the walled city.
Yeah. Auntie Cheng fucking hates Josephine Seng. This is bad blood that goes way back. Primarily just because of the competition for power between gangs and corps in both Hong Kong and the rest of the Shadowrun world. So she's going to really delight in helping us get revenge, which is also revenge for the operatives that Josephine Seng got killed. But we don't have any more information than that. We just have a name.
Yeah, we get a name and then we go do some more jobs.
Yeah.
Again, the perfect structure for CRPGs, which is great. We can go back on the bolt hole. We'll talk to Gobbet again, and she continues her lesson. This time, she starts talking about something that ends up being important to her loyalty quest when we get it. There was a gathering of kind of drifters and other rot shaman who lived on this raft called the Sinking Ship. And during this mission, somebody who lived there they get a job to steal this object, and that person ended up betraying everybody, and tons of people died.
Yeah.
There. This is referencing, last episode I talked about, one of the things I think about a lot with Shadowrun is that there's like a finite amount of concepts to build a video game around. Like if you're playing a tabletop game, another extraction is fine. Like, we just had to go get this guy from a company that, the unique parts will come out in the play because players are unpredictable. In translating it to a video game form, there are more limited things. Gobbet's storyline parallels with things like Demon in a Bottle. Like this is a archetype of a Shadowrun thing. Like it kind of ends up feeling kind of adversary-like when we get to the end of it. But the haunted magical object from Earth Dawn times is a Shadowrun adventure archetype.
Yeah. People summoning something they can't put down, right?
Yes. Well, there's also a fiction archetype. You might also recognize that from stories. Yeah. But it's very specifically like a thing that happens in this universe, I guess.
Yeah.
And there are published modules that are similar to this.
Yeah. But we're going to learn about this. It's called the shiny object, is what they call it, because these crusty rat shaman, pretty literal.
yeah, quite crusty, and they love shiny objects.
Yeah.
We can check in with Ractor here again, and he starts talking about his relationship with his drone. His relationship with his drone is very special. He doesn't have to give it specific commands, command by command. It acts based on his id. And we're going to find out more about this a little bit later.
I like that because he's not giving the commands. We are kind of implying that we as the player are his id in combat. Yeah.
There's a nice little meta little bit there. He also we find out that he is like a robot tar. He had he's both cyber legs, like everything below the waist. It's gone. Ken doll down there. He can love you like a real son.
He's nice. I want you. I need you.
Narrowcasted.
Unfilmable. Out now for you to listen, or out soon for you to listen to. God, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, I know, right? It doesn't hold you.
But it was this lab accident, and he got cut in half the easy way, and he is kind of in the same boat as Glory from Dragonfall, just with different outcomes and for different reasons. Of course, he's half machine and only has a shred of essence left. Essence being your connection to your astral self, if I believe correct.
Your humanity.
Yes.
Like it's what makes you human.
Right.
So in mechanical terms, it's a resource you spend to get cyberware. In role-playing terms, the more of it you have, the less human you are. So if we recall Glory was very cold and robotic. She purposely filled herself up with cyberware in order to get her essence as low as possible to cut her off from the adversary.
Yes.
Ractor is kind of a flip side to that. His essence is very low because of this stuff, but he's fine.
Yes.
He's got these kind of Russian sensory mods he has, and his psychology, which, as you talk to him more, he's basically like a sociopath.
Yeah.
And he's very used to masking and everything like that. So he presents as functionally a lot more well adjusted than Glory does. He's just very cold and clinical about the whole thing. He's the closest thing you have to like an evil party member.
It's a really interesting subversion on that. And subversion.
Yeah.
Here's a character who says unapologetically, I am a psychopath. This is a quirk of my psychology. And I have learned, to adapt to it. I'm not specifically going and hurting people. It's basically like taking apart a notion of what a psychopath is. It's not like, okay, you are suddenly a person who, turns
They're
into
malicious.
Jason Voorhees, right? It just
Yeah.
like it's a lack of empathy. It is like a relational problem, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go out and hunt people, and your reactions can either be like informed and enlightened about that, or you can be like, well, I don't want to have a monster on my team. Yeah.
Yeah. Like him and Gaishu, that's the point of them.
Yes.
What kind of monster can you have on your team
Hmm.
to work together? And this idea of somebody who has all of the psychological things that might make, like an Ed Gein, without all the weird paraphilias and obsessions.
Hmm.
Like if Ractor was a different kind of person, he wouldn't feel thing one
Hmm.
about doing that kind of thing. Like if he was very obsessed with like, oh, what would it be like to dissolve a bone in
Yeah.
bleach? I don't know. I want to get a shed full of that. He would do it. He wouldn't feel weird about it. But that's not where his passion lies.
Right.
This idea of him being a psychopath and being, having no empathy, which for the record, like you don't got to hand it to him. That
Nope.
does suck.
Hmm.
He's in real life. I wouldn't be a big fan of Ractor. I just like
And
him as a character in this video game.
yes. Yeah. In real life, he more than likely would be a fucking CEO.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he would be intolerable.
Yeah.
As a thing. But his whole thing is this transcendence, is man transcending the flesh body,
Mhm.
and kind of on this AI route. And that's where his obsession lies, and it allows him to focus on it.
Mhm.
And he's very, very capable of being very genial.
Yes.
It's really interesting.
Mhm.
Like best companion in the game, I think,
Oh yeah.
in terms of setup and writing.
And a walk. Yeah.
Yeah. The next mission we're going to do is the loyalty quest for Isabel. I always say Isobel because it's ISO.
Yeah.
Isabel's a side mission here. There's another Decker named Rhombus who's going to be in attendance in this year's Hong Kong DeckCon. So this is really cool. She's like, listen, I'm going to plan it all and I'll pay you.
Uh-huh.
And she plans it all out. Like does this planning thing. Like you're going to get inside. You have to go get an extra uniform that's in my size. And then we're going to find him and force him to go up to the VIP suite.
Yeah. I love that she plans it and she can neither plan nor improvise.
It's a good plan. It just, as soon as something goes wrong, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. She gets overwhelmed because like she's that's kind of her character.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
I love going to a convention.
Oh, that's great.
It's so silly. Like it's got museum appeal, but it's less used.
Uh-huh.
Like you and I both love going to museums and amusement parks and video games.
Of course.
There are no, like, give me a Hitman that takes place in a comic book convention.
It's not a comic book convention, but the Miami level in Hitman 2
is the closest.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
For this. It's a really fun level. One thing about this though is that the base first floor of it
mm-hmm.
is big enough that this is the chuggiest the Switch port of this got.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It's super unfortunate. Like I still could experience it, everything,
mm-hmm.
but it got pretty chuggy.
Like even during combat, I mean, like
like once you're backstage, it's okay. It's the show floor.
Okay,
it just has a really hard time with the show floor for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah. So we go through the service entrance, and I fast talk the chef into
mm-hmm.
not sounding the alarm. Obviously, there are multiple ways to do this, but I had the corporate etiquette, so I was like, "Oh, I'm here scouting talent. We've heard you. You steam an amazing clam. They're slinging so much clam in this."
There's a lot of clams. And you get the thing we need is one of your uniforms,
mm-hmm.
just for branding purposes. We're going to have one of our people wear it. So you get a dwarf sized uniform. There are a couple different ways you can do this. I did it this way as well.
Yes.
You meet Isabel in the ladies' room and give her the uniform, and she goes to get in position and she says, listen, go mingle on the show floor. Just look like a Decker.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you bring with you?
I brought Ractor. No. Yeah, no, I brought Ractor. This is one where you have to have only a couple of people, right? You can't bring a fourth.
You can only bring one person.
Yes, I brought Ractor.
Yeah. I think I had Duncan with me at this point, for some reason or another, which didn't add a whole lot. But in the last time I played it, if you bring Gaishu with you, he says it's cosplay. The costume and stuff, again, it's real cute, like the different excuses you have for having a ghoul walk around.
It's easy to forget, like with the way he talks and with the way he dresses, that he is not a time traveler.
Yes. He's like just a samurai, creative anachronism here. You go around, you can check out some stuff. There's some fun little details here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy you can talk to who is just milling about like you are, and
Uh-huh.
you can spot him as another Shadowrunner.
Yep.
And just as a professor, you're like, "What are you here for?" He's like, "Oh, this thing." And you're like, "Okay, we're here for this thing. We'll just stay out of each other's way. Good luck." Real cute.
Yeah. And there
If you bring Gobbet here, there's a noodle extruder machine. In the
okay.
future, food gets extruded, and she loves food. She can't handle it; like she gets really grossed out by watching it. And then in the DLC, Isabel, as a gift, gets it for her, like steals it from this convention. So she has the noodle extruder in her quarters and is unnerved by it. And stuff. It's real cute.
I just did happy birthday. Here's some emotional torture.
Yeah, here's a Play-Doh Fun Factory for food thing. It's good.
I love it. Yeah. Like then there are like some people like you walk up and they'll ask like there's somebody who I think is doing is this the mission where they have the guy who's doing like the complete like, I'm building a deck into my head kind of thing and he's trying to sell you on it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the nerd who did not bring his cyber deck. He's got it built into his head and it's just like a walking advertisement.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I mean, you upgrade components every couple of months. You have to do brain surgery. Like,
it's good reason not to get a laptop. It's very similar argument. Yeah. People ringing my doorbell. So after you talk to a few people, Isabel radios you, and her signal is cut short. She's going to find a hack for it. So she tells you to go stand near a certain kiosk that she's able to kind of piggyback on. She does it, and when she goes to locate Rhombus, she finds out he already has a VIP pass. And this makes her furious. Like something has gone not according to plan, and she loses her cool.
Well, she's also jealous. Like that asshole got a VIP pass, and I wasn't even invited.
It's great.
Yeah. Oh gosh, Isabel. So our initial plan was, hey, we're going to take him. We're going to escort him to this escort him up there. That's gone. So we need to figure this out. And stuff was getting worse because Isabel is up on a higher floor in this kind of utility closet, jacking in and doing all this stuff in the Matrix. But some convention staff have found her, some security who are like, well, okay, you said you were making a delivery, but why are you in here fucking around? And like, just, okay, I'm going to try and coach you through, talking your way out of this because she can't improvise on that. And she only barely follows the directions. She doesn't do the Cyrano thing.
Yeah, you try to Cyrano it. You can even reference that.
Yeah.
Similar to how people are still referencing that play in the far future and stuff.
I'm surprised they're not doing was it Roxanne?
Yeah, that'd be, or Cyrano, the Peter Dinklage film.
Oh yeah,
from a couple of years ago. That's what they're referring to, probably.
Yeah, probably.
It's the dark cyber future. She talks her way out of that. She goes down to let you in to the VIP room, and she gets in the elevator. And she runs into a decker named Kind Ding. And she recognizes him, this guy who created this power surge. He's a Shadowrunner. His team was in trouble. He made a power surge in the walled city, and a bunch of people got dumb shock, and a old lady died.
Yeah.
So she starts losing her temper at him, and you have to kind of try to talk her down. You don't have direct control over her.
No.
It's real fun. Like, it's a cool way to do a different gameplay mode in this engine.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not the kind of situation this game lends itself to, I think. Yeah. But it's really cute. Mm-hmm. And you can lose your cool. You can say like, fuck it, kill him. And she'll do it. Yeah. You can start the fight now. Like, you do have some control over it. It's not just a cutscene.
Yes. Yeah. But like, he's going to call security because Isabel has gone so aggro. And I resolved this by invoking Kindly Cheng's name. It's like, hey, you call security, you're fucking dead. And he's like, okay, no, that's fine. And then of course, when we get out, more problems because Isabel runs into two security guards trying to wrangle a drunk troll.
I love that the troll is like begging for your help.
Uh-huh.
And then you can talk your way past this as well. Mm-hmm. Here, I believe, like, I think there's an etiquette that will do it.
There's a check. It's like a charisma check that has to happen. Where I forget what the actual dialogue is that's associated with it is, but like this causes me to get into a fight.
This is where I fought as well. And the troll helps you, like, just like, hey, Riot. A fun thing is Keen Ding is a combatant during this. So if you want to kill him for doing the thing, you can. without any consequence. He just dies in the crossfire. I basically just made Isabel slaughter him first, and then deal with the guards.
So I was worried that if this turned into like a huge fight. So your party is separated.
Yeah.
Isabel's on the first floor, and your other two people are over there waiting by the kiosk. In order to rejoin them, the outside people need to bust down the door
Yeah.
to get in. I was worried that that would cause a scene and bring more people in. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to beat this with Isabel and the troll. Just canning use of the grenade launcher. It wasn't actually that difficult.
Mhm.
And okay, killed him. It was fine. Nobody actually kind of came back and joined, but I still had to bust down the door to get back there because Isabel couldn't open up the door from the inside.
Got you. Yeah. I
Yeah.
just had my guys bust down the door.
Yeah.
Like there's a weird meta element of this too. Like I ended up putting off this mission for a long time because I
hmm
remembered it having no action. I really like this mission,
hmm
but I just wanted to get into some fights.
hmm
Wanted to play some tactics. So I was like, fuck it. I'll kill the convention.
Yeah.
I'm a player character. I know how to play the game. Brought them in. After you connect your people back together, Isabel, you go up to the actual room. You bust into the VIP room where Rhombus is. And Rhombus is like, hey, are you here for the memories that you had me take away? This is not what she told you the run was about.
No, she
She
said
lied.
this was like software that we will need to get to get through the walled city if we end up going in there.
Yes. And it kind of is.
Yeah.
She argues, it's not technically a lie. And they start yelling at each other. They have a lot of history and they get into a big fight.
Yeah.
I choose to believe that Isabel did not kill Captain Whiskers the cat.
I don't think they just got it in her. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems odd. But he thinks that she did, which would cause a lot of bad blood.
Yeah. But he believes that she did. So Rhombus created this program to troll all of her posts on Shadowlands BBS. So like just real penny ante kind of shit.
Create a bot.
Yeah.
It's going to stop people from buying the BBS. They're going back and forth. They'll keep fighting here, and you realize, you're on a Shadowrun, so you cut in to cut this short.
Yeah.
You can either beat this guy up. Nothing really happens. You can beat him up. You can intimidate him. Things like that. He hands over this encryption key. This idea, this basically that she begged him to hold on to this. Like, I'm a werewolf. Lock me up. Don't let me out no matter what. Here she's saying, yes, give me the goddamn thing. I'll kill you if you don't,
Yeah.
So that is why we're here.
Yeah. Just because her childhood was so traumatic and escaping from the walled city kind of didn't provide her with the peace that she thought it would. So she had these memories locked away from herself. As she's explaining this, the Hong Kong police force shows up and Rhombus runs away. So you end up fighting down a hallway. Pretty easy. Isabel has her grenade launcher. There's tons of cover down the hallway, lots of planters and things. Not a big deal.
Yeah, not a big deal at all. When you return to the boat, the crew is gathered in the living room of the boat because Isabel has uncovered some information about Josephine Tseng. Her corp was struggling until it landed this contract for something called the Prosperity Project. This high-density housing for the poor and for refugees built over the site of the old Kowloon walled city that was torn down in the real world in 1994.
Yes. And then rebuilt because maybe it'll work out for us.
Yeah, we'll build in the exact same place as a kind of middle finger to the dead. Is what we're planning on doing.
Why reinvent the wheel? Hell on Earth was already there, so
yeah, seems good.
Yeah, but this contract, to do this low income housing project, kind of launched her company into the big leagues, and this is where her son Edward Tseng comes in. Edward is actually Raymond. Our dad, the person that we knew, had another identity before he restarted and started taking care of kids out in Redmond. He was here and in charge of the infrastructure on the city. And it's funny because an anecdote on our end says, well, that doesn't make any sense because infrastructure that's like sewage and stuff, like Duncan remembers a pipe breaking in their basement and it was a horrible, horrible disaster. Like this is obviously a sinecure that he just got because he was, nepotism did.
Yeah, this guy does not master the shit. The
Nope.
shit masters him. He disappeared from the public eye around 1931 or 2031. 2031.
Yeah, there we go.
And it was, that was around the cutoff for information about when Raymond started showing up. So he died and Raymond started showing up in public records.
Right.
This is our next little piece of info, and this is going to kind of drive the character, especially Duncan, for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can go talk to Isabel and convince her to re-download the purge memories with the key that we went through. It's really hard on her. You can also convince her not to.
Yes.
You had those locked away for a reason, because she's hesitant. I convince her to, because there might be something we could use, greater good and all that.
Yeah.
When she does so, it also upgrades her character. She's like, I need to go through this stuff. Maybe there will be something useful, but I found this old combat package of software that we can use.
Gives her extra AP, right? Or no,
I
it's
believe so.
it gives her a couple more things by default in the Matrix, I believe.
I think this might be the thing that gives her the assassin summon.
Yeah.
For this. I'm not totally sure though, because I try to avoid Matrix combat in this game because I don't think it's very good.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talked to Gobbet, and our last conversation about the sinking ship kind of has gotten under her skin. She's just preoccupied with her old friends who used to live there. And so well, they're just out in the bay. Should we go check on them? She doesn't want to. She regrets bringing it up.
Yep. That's going to pay off a little bit later. This is when Ractor reveals that his extensive modification didn't hurt his essence because he's clinically a psychopath. So he does not have that breaking point. He's just so twisted. He's it's a real Zane the Slayers kind of thing. There's a weird little side mission here that only affects like your feel goods, basically.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I really like how this works. So Maximum Law, the little Decker guy, early on in the game when you talk to him, he starts talking about something called metadata. Metadata is just like scuttlebutt, gossip.
Yeah.
And you can sell him juicy secrets from your Shadowruns. And he's a kid and he's like, yeah, I'll keep that secret, yo. Strangler Bao messages you and says, actually, that's not true. He's been gossiping about your Shadowrun and what you've been doing. Go kill him. Basically. Yeah. And you can do so. There's like a little moment you go over and talk to him, and there aren't people but nearby. You can just put a bullet in him. It's a really weird, kind of bold choice for the game to allow that, given that this is the only Decker merchant in the game. So if you're playing as a Decker, you could have really fucked yourself up by getting this little extra money on the side. And something that's kind of refreshing about Hong Kong, I found, at least playing as a mage, I was never swimming in money.
Yeah.
They actually keep the economy pretty tight in this game, and I really like it. It's been a while since I played a game where I had to make real choices.
Yeah.
I was riding the poverty line basically the whole time, and I could not afford a lot of I couldn't afford to buy summons for Gobbet. A bunch of extra summons. I had to these spells are fucking expensive and I don't get that much money. That was not a thing in Dragonfall. In Dragonfall, I feel like you're really well resourced. Here, you are incentivized to sell that metadata to Maximum Law because an extra $200, $300, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different ways to just tell them to not, to stop that.
Yeah.
A bunch of different avenues to get him to stop. And he does it. Luckily, the cheaper way to tell the story would be he doesn't listen and he dies. Here he's actually oh shit, well, I don't want to die.
Yeah. The angle that I took was I had the Shadowrunner etiquette, and he said, oh, the BBS is secure, and he's like, the purpose of that BBS, right? Corps and corporations and bots are trawling it every single day. You can go on there and share this stuff. It is in no way secure. That's what sharing means. And all the blood drains from his face, and it's he realizes, oh, I'm a little
dead
kid.
Man.
I'm a dead man, and also I've been a little kid about this. I assumed I knew how this worked, and I don't.
Yeah. It's good to tell him to stop.
Yeah,
I like him. I don't want him to die. We check in with Crafty Zoo about her research. First is a story of, and this is one of those things you have to do to get the golden ending. First is a story about an exorcism at a prominent arch in her city. Her mother failed to purge the dark chi, and it changed forever afterwards. So we learned a little bit about the effects of kind of dark chi. The
Yeah.
second, though, is more germane to what's going
Yes.
on here.
Yeah, it is kind of this folklore that has popped up within the city about these demons called the Yama Kings. This is general folklore, but the walled city itself kind of has their own versions of them, or like their own individual ones. So there's like one called Lam Vi that feeds on cowards. Fu Mang feeds on the guilty, and Qian Ya feeds on slaves as one of
Mhm.
these. And as her mom starts writing about them, that's about the time when her notes deteriorate as her own state of mind deteriorates.
Yeah. Flashback to last episode. I'm way into a new mythology,
Hmm.
or like a mythology that does not get explored that often
Yes.
in games in the West.
Hmm.
The Yama Kings are badass.
Yes.
Like I love Oni. I love all kind of yokai, things like that. It is really cool to have, and looking these things up
Hmm.
is neat. Several tabletop games have taken upon this. These show up in the White Wolf games as well,
Oh, cool.
because it's such a cool idea.
Hmm.
The 10 Kings of Hell.
Pretty much.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Like what is there to object to?
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. We get a job offer from a scientist who used to work at this biotechnology firm, but he left when he found out they were doing these phenotype gene modification things on metahuman embryos. So he wants us to recover the biological samples so we can blow the whistle on
Yeah.
us.
So we talk with the captain and drink his terrible rock gut
Yep.
before heading out on his boat to board this research ship. And this is really neat. So
Yeah,
the
this is a
above,
great mission, all like
yeah,
front to back.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and it's multi-part too, which not a lot of these are. The above decks portion of the boat is a stealth section, which is annoying, avoiding patrols if you are doing it in real time. It's basically like a different version of what happens in the Matrix in this. However, because you have that little button you can press that switches even normal moving around into the turn-based kind of thing, it's actually pretty easy to like sneak people around and get by. You can't see the cone of their field of view or what have you to kind of get a sense, but roughly where not to run.
Yeah.
And you just kind of slip by. Like I only managed to get seen like I think on 2 of the 4 of these. And even that wasn't so bad because there's a huge storm. Nobody can hear anything that's happening, and you just need to stop them from hitting the alarm that's on that section.
Yeah. Yeah. It's neat. Again, just really cool little gameplay type. When you get below decks, if you, depending on if an alarm is going off, there'll
Mhm.
either be like an ambush in the main room waiting for you. The alarm ended up going off on the last encounter for me. So I had a group in that main room,
Mm.
but they're all clustered around explosive barrels.
As you do.
But the explosive barrels are great because they explode at gas. So they do damage over time, but they're area denial for you as well, because
Yes.
you have to push forward. So like, it's really clever encounter design. There's an enemy standing next to valuable cover and next to one of these barrels that basically you can scorch the earth.
Mhm.
You can use the barrel to flush him out of cover and do some initial kind of shock damage, but then that cover is not useful for you to fight his backup.
Oh,
You
nice.
cannot take that cover to take out the snipers behind. Stuff
That's a
like
good
that.
trade-off.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like really good encounter design
Yeah.
here. When you go below decks to get this sample room, there is this living sample. They've got tyrant jars,
Yes.
basically. And we are learning about what they are doing. This is related to, again, one of those Shadowrun adventure nuggets, like things
Yeah.
about that world that you can, that was not used in any of the previous games, it's vaguely related to Leonization,
Mhm.
which is the way in the future people extend their lives.
Yes.
There are like really expensive side effects to this, but you can live for like up to being like 200 very easily in the
Mhm.
world of Shadowrun.
Yeah. And like what they're doing is they're going in and basically trying to use magic, and specifically I think it's elf DNA.
It is, yeah, because elves are
Yeah.
effectively immortal in this. There are elves that are suspected in this session in this setting of predating like the
Yeah.
awakening.
Mhm.
They were just in shadows
Yeah.
before that.
Yeah. So they're going in there and, just they've had this just huge failure rate. And in order to actually test this, to kind of see, they've been rapidly aging these samples up to a fixed age of 19. But, anytime you induce rapid growth, you end up with a bunch of cancer.
Yes.
So just you end up with miserable creatures that are, deathly ill,
Mm.
and living in pain inside of a jar, begging for death.
Yeah. Why must I be? You
Yes.
know, why they program me to feel pain? They're basically taking DNA from elves
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
Um, After you do this, the Johnson calls. He's like, "Hey, I've got a tail from Eastern Tiger. Eastern Tiger is the research
Hmm.
company, and the Solpas
Yeah.
around me, which is organized crime.
Yeah.
A
Korean
different,
specifically.
yeah,
Korean organized crime.
yeah." He's like, "So I can't wire the payment. You're going to have to meet me in person." In a very cool Shadowrun like twist, though, we get a call after this from the person tailing him, saying,
Hmm.
"Listen, your Johnson is going to betray you. He's burned several teams of Shadowrunners. He's actually from Terrataran Gyre, which is Portland, Oregon, in the Shadowrun world,
Hmm.
which is the Elf Kingdom
Yeah.
in the United States. He's from there. He's not telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Um, why don't you get back at him and turn the samples over to me instead?"
Yeah. And for me, I'm like, No, fuck both of you." Like, no, that's fine. I'm just gonna see how this works when we go back there. Get to the meeting place, and by bribing some folks to learn what's going on here, like, yeah, they're a bunch of like heavily armed guys, who've like rolled in here and are keeping out of view. And you can also like hack traffic cameras to
Mhm.
see that the Johnson has brought some mercenaries from Tsunami here,
Yes.
like waiting for an ambush. And we kind of arrive at this, kind of town square where we have the Johnson on the far side here, and then with all of his men, or not at first, but Johnson on one side, and then the tail with all of his soul pass folks
Mm.
there. And they're just both pains in the ass. So I decide a pox on all your houses. This is going to be a battle royale.
It ends up, yeah, the best, quote unquote best in video game terms, the most favorable outcome in terms of getting benefits and Kindly Cheng liking it
Hmm.
is to fight them both, neither of which are good. Neither
Yeah.
of which are good folk. It's good that you can betray one of them as well.
Hmm.
So I told the second guy, I was like, "Yeah, I'll fight. I will join you." And then when he's like, "Oh, thank God that's over," I'm like, "Surprise, motherfucker!" And then you kill him and take them out, and they will just fight each other
Hmm.
for a whole while. But it's a 3-way fight regardless.
Yeah.
It's kind of rough. You're stuck in the middle.
Hmm.
There's a hacking point. They're both standing in big puddles next to sparking electronic things.
this
Uh,
mission, this mission, and people with self-preservation.
yeah, just not doing a great job with it. And you can get a hacker to go in there and shoot electricity out. But again, I was trying to avoid decking
Hmm.
in this game, and so I did not do that. I let them fight each other. I ducked around the corner and then just took out stragglers.
Yeah.
A cool thing about this is both sides have a unique weapon
Hmm.
that you can pick up after you take them out. There's a unique shotgun and a unique assault rifle there.
That it's frustrating because I got the shotgun, but I didn't get the assault rifle, even though I killed both of them. And
Hmm.
I was built for assault rifle. So
Hmm. I don't know
yeah.
exactly what determines that.
Yeah. No,
So
well.
yeah. So we head back home. We do a rest because you need to sleep a certain amount of times again for that golden ending. You have to hang out in the dreamlands. When you wake up, you're having the same kind of dreams. These great columns stretching up in the sky, these grinding and broken gears. When you wake up, one of your molars falls out. So the dreamland is affecting reality
Yeah.
here. People in the dreamland are losing their teeth.
Hmm. So that's got to happen. So I hit a lot of these. I didn't. Something happened where I didn't get the golden ending, which okay, fine. But I wish I knew what I had missed. But I did get this one. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. You have to know the golden ending is when you bargain with
Hmm.
the Yama King. at the end. You have to learn, you have to do a bunch of things and then learn a specific piece of trivia about how they work.
Yeah.
To utilize it against them.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I've done before, but I didn't do this time either.
Yeah.
I got the second, it's pretty good
Mm-hmm.
ending. I also, the way I role played it was not particularly sympathetic to Raymond.
No, true.
So, yeah. I mean, and it's left ambiguous. You can be, forgive him or not. I chose not to, so
get a lot of options. Yeah.
Yeah. Get tortured in hell for eternity. Piece of shit. It's a video game. I'm a dog with a chew toy. I wouldn't do it in real life, but
so you check in on Duncan, and he has not taken the news that his father is living a lie very well. He's watching archival footage of Edward saying, and just wondering, okay, like, who was the man who really raised me, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of talk about how I used to have this surreal ability to kind of like de-escalate them when they got into fights back in Redmond.
Here's a little gameplay bit that ties into this golden ending or the ending thing. He's like, do you remember what you used to say? And you have 3 options. Mm-hmm. You can choose any of them, but you have to remember it because you end up evoking it again later. Mm-hmm. We just did a game where something similar to that happened. Maybe it was in Devotion. There's a thing where you have to remember what you said.
I can't recall.
Yeah. We talked to Gaishu now, and he talks about his old unit ambushing him, how he managed to kill 2 of them. The other 2 have been hunting him ever since.
Yeah.
The way that the systems work for the Red Samurai is they need to kill Gaishu before they can replace him. Replace him. Like, they can't just, treat him as dead. It's a mark on their honor that Gaishu's still alive.
Right.
And you can encourage Gaishu to turn the tables, like stop running.
Yeah. And he just needs to think on it. This is setting up his loyalty quest very obviously. Go talk to Isabel and start picking through her recovered memories. But she says, hey, more pressing than that, or wait, no, she says, recalling back, Gobbet was the one who helped me escape the walled city. Right? Like, okay, wow, I didn't realize you guys went that far back. She doesn't want to give more information about this. You could go ask Gobbet, like, okay, like, what's your side of the story on this? But she's gone. She is not in her room. Her disgusting pot of perpetual soup is going, and that's it. She has kind of abandoned us. She has left on her own to go check out the sinking ship, most likely.
Yes. And in a cool story and gameplay integration, if you've been relying on Gobbet, you cannot have her until you go get her.
Right.
You can continue and do other missions, but she will not be available.
Mm-hmm.
The sinking ship mission, you can only bring Isabel because she's tight with Gobbet. This is personal. No one's getting paid, so your more mercenary members aren't going to go.
Mm-hmm.
You arrive, and this place has fallen on even harder times. As soon as you get land, you get attacked by devil rats. Mm-hmm. They say, like, don't let them bite you. Thank goodness there's not actually a mechanical.
Oh, God.
Like, you don't actually get the, the mega disease. You don't get the Vetus plague. Which is what you would get in the Shadowrun game from this and would die. That does not happen to your player because you will get bit. Mm-hmm. There's tons of them.
Yeah. And like, not only tons of them, but also lots of encounters with them.
Yes.
You're going to spend a little bit of this the mission digging through some trash, and they'll come out and ambush you and stuff.
Yeah.
We talked to some locals here who are kind of like waiting on lookout, and they say, this infestation is so bad, this place isn't long for the world. Takes a lot of maintenance to keep a place like this afloat, and just there are so many of them below decks that we can't get down there and actually like patch holes and stuff.
Yeah. And so we learn, we agree to help them out because we can find Gobbet or her friends here. We learn a little bit, like one of her friends, Cadmus, is in quarantine because he has the disease. We have to do a little business to get past this trap they had set up, this anti-boring device that floods a channel with electrified water. there. Several ways to do that. When we get down below decks, we start learning that things are not what they seem.
Right.
Malvina, Gobbet's old friend, has become this very draconian ruler, and there have been a few failed mutiny attempts against her in this kind of loose, conglomerate here. There's somebody who was gut shot because of this grudge. We can heal her. This is all going to lead to a little bit later if we choose one of two options for this.
Everybody's doing kind of, it's a good life kind of thing. Like it's effectively mind control because everybody's convinced that whatever is at play here can read their thoughts.
Yes.
So their will is kind of broken. The two locals who greeted us, like, okay, we're going to lead you to this door. Just like you want to see them, we'll take you below decks. So you can help us, take care of these rats, right? And then Gobbet shows up, says, "Hey, don't go through there. It's a trap." And it starts a fight.
Yep. When you kill one of these people who is leading people into these doors, the other one surrenders. Like they're not, zombies. And basically apologizes and says, like, we have to do this, again, because whatever is in control of the ship will kill us as well.
Yeah.
So you end up sparing them. Gobbet says, yeah, I came to see what's happening, but this place is doomed. I'm going to scuttle it. I've been placing charges everywhere. It's going to go down. Classic Gobbet. That's such a Grunk the Goblin move. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. And she just the whole point of this is she's been very impulsive. She's a very impulsive person. It's kind of like, hey, is that actually a really good idea? Like there are a lot of people who live here and rely on this place. She's convinced that it's the right call.
It's the only thing to do.
Yeah.
When you get into the quarantine room, there you can talk to Cadmus, and we find out what happened. That shiny object. The artifact was kind of changed and possessed Mel. She was a rat shaman, and now she's a rat king. Basically a toxic version of a rat shaman. For people who don't know, rat kings are real ass things.
Are they?
That's apocryphally.
Okay.
But I've read I think that I've read about how it can happen.
Okay.
They tend not to be as like grandiose as they are in the versions like the P.T. Barnum versions, but what can happen is because rats, if they live in very filthy areas, their tails can get knotted up with like goobers and shit and stuff.
Okay.
It's basically several rats with their tails tied together.
Gotcha.
Is a rat king.
Yeah. It's one of those things like spontaneous human combustion, where like it sounds like, oh yeah, that's magic, but it turns out no, everybody was just covered in flammable shit and smoking all the time.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody was went to the Gasoline Gallagher show where he smashes gas cans that have painted patterns like watermelons on them.
And then they did the Lindy Hop. Yeah.
A fun, if you run tabletop games and you want to have your characters have to have a cool reagent, Rat King is a real good one. Like you can do this cool magical thing, but you have to find a Rat King, and that sends them off into cool, dangerous places.
Nice. Yeah. But toxic version. A toxic shaman as well. Like just somebody whose spirit has gone bad in some kind of way. Like this is how you get dungeon bosses.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And she's physically invincible now, is basically what it is. She's just an amalgamation of a bunch of toxic rat spirits, and she's untouchable. And we're given a choice for how we want to proceed. We can solve the Malvina problem by scuttling this place, by scuttling the big raft, or we can try to take a shot at her and save the boat by trying to organize another mutiny.
Yes. So two different endings here, both of which are fine in terms of things. One of them is the good ending. You're not mechanically punished for either one.
Right.
You either start another mutiny and go down and fight, or you go and plant charges for this. And Gobbet is very reluctant to fight the whole time. Yes. She's like, I really reserve the right to sink this place. It's bad news. And she kind of does have a point. Like it does end up, a lot of death and destruction and horror happening here, not least of which when you go into the trap pit, which is just a big pile of corpses of her friends. Yeah. Just like there's a pretty good argument for this place just being, you know what? Scrap it. Scrap it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
the
Stupid. Let's stop.
the the argument in order to, the argument in favor of keeping this place is everybody here would end up being funneled into the walled city anyway,
Yes.
so like, but yeah,
she's not so crazy that she's like sync it with everybody on it. Like you're saying no, sync it, but give everyone a chance to escape.
Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you don't have to make a decision. Like, you can arm all the charges, but you make your call when you get to like this data point, right? To ring the security bell or whatever. I decided to fight because I wanted to fight a Rat King. That sounded cool.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I also fought as well.
Yeah.
So you get into a boss fight with the Rat King, this Eldritch dark spirit thing. After you do some damage to her and fight her, she summons some demon rats and she puts her shields up, so she's invincible. Gobbet has to go and grab the shiny object from the desk in order to take down her shield.
Yeah.
And when you do so, she's able to control the demon rats.
Yeah. So you can send her own demons after her, which ends up helping. She's pretty easy regardless. Basically, any large enemy like this that can't take cover goes down very quickly because you can A, focus fire, and B, they can't take cover, so critical hits are open on them,
Yeah. It's the tabletop thing where turn economy trumps all.
Yes.
There are tons of essays about this on YouTube in terms of like D&D shit.
Yeah.
It's something people have been struggling with tabletop games forever. After you kill the Rat King, Gobbet's like, I'm leaving for good. She throws the shiny object overboard.
Yes.
Like, get rid of it.
And like the heart of the ocean, James Cameron, Avatar 2.
Yeah, finally. She gets a really cool power up for doing this. If you talk to her, she finds her. So back on the ship, you talk to Gobbet. Her totem delivers her a marble every day if she ever throws it, and it basically is a thing. It's an area of effect that makes people ignore enemies.
It's so good.
This is now, since I was playing a mage and I had blindness and forget, and then by this point I had also gotten charm. I had 4 things on cooldown that made people not fight. It was ludicrous. Like, the charm one took 3 AP. So like I had to either be hasted or I had to, once you get the extra AP, the bonus AP, it took up my whole turn.
Okay.
So it was a real risk reward. But between all of them, like, again, just dominated. Like,
yeah.
It's probably, when I think about this game, which I really, really love, the 2 biggest flaws are the Matrix still kind of sucks and it is too easy. It is a good level. It's fun to go through and everything, but I could have definitely used a little bit more rigor.
Yeah.
Because by this time I was invincible.
I mean, and like, yeah, if you raise the difficulty, there probably would be like a slighter, smaller chance to hit on some of those as they went, but like, I don't know, you would still get enough of them off. Maybe.
Yeah,
like
my spell casting was like at like 8.
Yeah.
It was above human, and my wisdom was that high too. Like I was above human limits on that stuff because I didn't have any reason to diversify my stat spread.
Yes.
So I was hitting with every spell. Like no problem. And you can buy a fetish from Crafty Zoo that allows you to increase those stats by 1 on their own.
Yeah.
So like by the end of the game, they're effectively 10. The human maximum is supposed to be 6.
Wow.
For those in terms of stats. So like pretty nuts. It might have made a little bit of a difference in terms of chance to hit, but since what I was doing was not damage, which could be scaled down or ameliorated by hit point pools, I was doing turn denial. Turn denial just trumps all.
Yeah.
Crazy powerful.
Yeah. Still useful. I was not a mage. I only had Gobbet's support kind of stuff. So anything that helped to do turn denial was welcome.
Yeah. And just being able to have it refresh. So it's not a consumable. You get to use it once per mission.
Yeah.
But it will come back every time.
See the aforementioned point about, this being a game where the economy matters, right?
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff you can do once you head back in addition to talking to Gobbet. The main thing is you can go and talk to Kindly Cheng.
Yes. She says, "Oh, I have learned the plastic face man's identity. His name is Lee Tai Lung. She is Josephine Sang's wet work guy. So makes sense. Lines up. We have a name. His plastic face is part of an entire artificial skull. This is a complication. He has modified his brain with a cortical implant so that all of his client information is compartmentalized. It's basically on its own little hard drive in there, so that if anybody gets a hold of him, or just after a mission is over, he can just erase it. He wakes up basically as a new person, or at least
Mm-hmm.
memory of the job, nothing sensitive. And this is a huge value proposition for him. Like, you would hire this
Yeah.
guy because there is literally no way for somebody to be more discreet.
Yeah. It's a huge branding win.
Yeah.
For him. Mechanically, this also corresponds when we get our third action point
Mhm.
for our whole team, which is great. That makes a
Yes.
huge difference.
Yeah.
Just being able to use 2 AP actions and take cover is
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah.
When this happens, this is I just really awkwardly shunted that in the middle here. I forgot this is still part of the same scene.
Nope.
While we're talking about this, Isabel says she knows a Decker named Dreamland who has experience with this kind of thing. So we can go and talk to her, but kindly Cheng, in no uncertain terms, says, wrap up any of your business. Like, once we start this, we're gonna have a limited window. You're not gonna be able to go fuck around. So do all your side stuff.
Yes. I really like that games do that now.
Me too. It didn't used to be. If you Google, like, on GameFAQs message boards are full of like point of no return, posts for these things, and just the game just being like, you know what, you should. And it's not so artificial.
No.
Like, this, it isn't making sense here. Like, once we start this, he's gonna know where he's, like, his channels will get to us, or his channels will get back to him. So we will have a limited window.
Yes.
Like, it's actually more ludonarrative consonant that she tells you, like, once we start this, we can't stop.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't feel artificial. It doesn't feel like, I'd save my game if I was you. Or like, I'd save my game in a new slot if I were you. It's not that. Like, it makes sense diegetically as well.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So we can go do the rounds a little bit more. You can talk to Duncan. And we talk about this huge fight that Duncan and Raymond had. Shortly after Duncan, fell back in with his Baron friends. He was taken out of the street, and then he was sneaking out, doing bad stuff out there. And we have to recall, like, which saying. Which saying of Raymond's mother's we use to diffuse the fight. All of them relate to listening and understanding, basically.
Yeah. This is the thing you have to remember for the end game.
Yeah. I never got a prompt to bring this back up.
Oh, it's I did. I don't know. It probably has to do with Byzantine choices you make in the end. There are more branching pathways in this than it seems.
Yes.
You stop by Crafty's Juice, and it's full of these open books and scrolls. She's been doing research. She tells you, actually, the Yama Kings are real. The walled city is a beacon to them, and they're on their way. The bad dreams are important to this. Is that good? Yeah.
Yama gonna be here.
Yeah. The Yamama. It's happening. No good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'll believe the mystic. We've seen enough. So we can do Gaichu's mission here. Like, you can go talk to him and pick this up. Gaichu has learned that some red samurai matching the description of his old unit has come to Hong Kong. Like, okay, it's a unit of 4. Normally they go in 5. And he wants to take the fight to them. Basically, steal this drone for the Johnson who gave him the information on where they were going to be, and then draw the red samurai into a trap.
So due to proximity, they'll be dispatched to protect the drone. They won't know that Gaichu is there.
Yes.
So you go. The outside is lightly guarded. You make your way inside, and you find the scientist who hired you, Tanjiro, who Gaichu knows from back. The job, part of the job is for him to fake his own death. Here, just I love when there's like a kick the puppy option in dialogue and it makes no fucking sense.
Yep.
You can just literally be like, you've seen too much. It's like, wait, what?
No loose ends.
The whole job is to make a loose end. Um, this is really cool because you are setting out, stealing the drone, and you can set up for this thing. There's a quarantine room where they're testing para animals, and you can set it up so you can control which red samurai will go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, so you get to choose which one you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
Of their archetypes. I always choose the mage. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
fuck around with magic.
No.
And then you bring in the red samurai. They're not tough.
No.
Really, for being this legendary unit. This is where that rigor problem, especially with 3 AP, I'm fucking invincible.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing that can happen to me
Mm-hmm.
in the game.
Yeah. No. It's just 3 guys. Like,
Yeah.
And you got to bring Gaichu on this. I hadn't really been relying on him. So it was a little bit rough having somebody who was just purely melee on it.
Mm-hmm.
But also not that big of a problem because Gaichu can do a bunch of damage with his different stances and stuff.
Yeah. Gaichu is very effective in
Yes.
this. When you take him out, he confronts the captain, and Gaichu wants revenge. Like, he's like, I'm going to turn you into what I am. I'm going to turn you into a ghoul. And he's like, well, I'll just do what you never did. I'll kill myself. He's like, no, you won't, because I'm going to cut off your arms and legs. Like, I'm basically going to make you a terror stump. And he is basically going to torture this dude
Yes.
here. And you can let Gaichu do it. The other thing you can do is talk him down, which is what I did. Basically, this isn't you. Like, you are better than this. This is what they think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just a little, just pump the brakes just a little bit. Just give him,
give him. It's already pretty. It's already breaks. Like, it's in most circumstances, that's as fast as you can go. Like yes, there are fates worse than death, but death is already pretty extreme. Reading too many fucking samurai novels, my man. Like,
man, it is to steer into the bridge embankment, not into the schoolyard, right?
Yeah, not into the gas can. You convince him not to do it, regardless of which he gets his sword. So that's his upgrade, and it's a very meaningful upgrade. Yeah. Gaichu is effective the whole game.
Yes.
And it's a nice little end for him. Like, I like it when you talk to him, and he's just like, "Yeah, you've basically learned my loyalty forever."
Oh, yeah.
This is awesome. Like, of course I'm going to see this through. You can go talk to him and be like, what will you do now? And he's like, is that a joke?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to help you out, buddy. Like, it's very sweet.
Yeah. Just like, this is basically everybody, just once you reach this point, it's like it's like, oh, this is just a good arrangement for everybody involved here. Right. It's like, yeah, no, we're just going to keep on doing. I mean, at the very least, I'm going to help you solve this Raymond stuff. Like, yeah. And, you can talk to him like, this is just a real kind of self-actualization thing, right? Which is, he is, fully detached from his past and, able to be his own person, still living under a version of this code, but, not hiding. He's figured out how to embrace life as a very particular kind of thing, this ghoul samurai.
Something I found out between when we recorded the last episode and this is a character from the metafiction. So this character is in novels and in source books.
Okay.
Gaichu. It's kind of like this game's like Elminster or whatever. Like, he is a known NPC in the Shadowrun world.
No. Yeah. Oh, I've got a bunch of Shadowrun PDFs.
Good stuff, man. I downloaded the entire archive when that our source was up. On my hard drive, I have every Shadowrun book that's been printed up to like a certain edition.
I still check that URL sometimes.
I want it back
to see. I want it back so bad. If something's good, I buy it. Like, that's fine. But like, I just like learning about new stuff.
Me too.
Just like, that name of a thing looks neat. Like, oh, this is something that like a person made in some kind of free PDF maker. It's like a homebrew system or whatever. That's neat.
Well, and the stuff that went away.
Yeah.
Like old tabletop when it was like back in the Wild West before it got good. Like it is now, is really interesting. And it's not, I don't just steal them. I have so many physical Shadowrun books.
Oh my God.
it's really dumb. Like I almost have a complete second edition collection. And I just got, I was at an antique mall over the weekend. I went to go do a resize my fiance's engagement ring in the suburbs and found there was an antique mall that had the complete edition of the Universal Brotherhood, which is the first module that introduces the bug spirits
Oh shit.
in the thing, with the this like really cool really long form epistolary kind of short story about it done all through BBS posts,
Okay.
and then an adventure module
Mm.
for it. But like this short story about all of these amateur, the future Reddit detectives, basically,
Right.
learning about the Universal Brotherhood, this kind
Mhm.
of homeless initiative that was
Yeah.
undercover for recruiting bug spirits. Really neat. I'd never seen a complete one in the wild, and they had it just in Tigard,
Huh?
Oregon. So kick
That
ass.
rules.
Very excited. Yeah. When you're here on the ship, you can also talk to Isabel about how Gobbet helped her escape the walled city. And there was this Yama King there called the Nameless King, who cured the mother of her friend. The reason why is the friend had outwitted the Nameless King.
Mhm.
She claimed that she was basically the same thing that happened when Homer sells his soul for a donut.
Yes.
Almost exactly.
Yeah, you can't take my soul, Devil Flanders, because it's already pledged to Marge.
Yeah. This lady in the walled city had pledged her soul to Marge. One of the ultimate nameless kings. Homie.
I I just think they're neat.
Souls.
Souls, yeah.
Just holding up a big pile of souls. This biblically accurate Marge holding up a soul and just like
Oh god, just a Marge mandala just floating in there.
I just think they're neat, homie. But this is one of the steps, like the rules you learn about the nameless or the Yama Kings.
Yes.
You start learning how they work, so you can manipulate them like devils.
Yeah.
One of my favorite missions here is called Bad Chi. This is real cool. Like it's a clever concept for a mission.
Mhm.
A client wants you to sabotage this largest manipulator of chi in Hong Kong, Wuxing Incorporated. And the job is to do a bunch of subtle stuff on the main floor, like knock over cups and disorder papers and stuff, but then do a really big flashy thing to their gigantic garden, the
Mhm.
rooftop garden. So while they're busy with that, they won't notice the small stuff and it will fuck with them.
We're doing feng shui sabotage.
Yeah. And the first part is nothing. Like you go through, there are a couple of spirits that get summoned, but you're just going over knocking over glasses and shit,
It's
like
so
turning name
petty.
tags upside down, you know?
It's somebody moved my stapler.
And that has caused like a 4% stock price
Yeah.
drop
Well,
because
I
the
mean, just like
stapler's been moved.
as you do this, like a big swirling cloud of bad cheese starts
Yeah.
forming over the mezzanine. It's
I
so good.
I say this, I understand, we talked about this last episode, like feng shui as an interior decorating, like a mood thing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it's not really magic, because if so, like I've lived in so many apartments that would have gigantic swirling vortexes of elemental energy.
Oh yeah.
If so, like
Uh-huh.
I don't know, like I'm 22 years old and I forget to put the seat down, and then like a fire elemental ambushes me in bed.
Mm.
I don't want that. Oh, I didn't do
No.
the dishes for 2 days. Like, dead.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just like, oh, cockroach spirits. No, that's just
yeah.
that's just
No,
cockroaches.
this is regular cockroaches.
Yeah.
So, silverfish bug spirits.
Yeah.
When you do this, there are a couple of elementals that will appear on the main floor if you do enough stuff, but you're just fighting them solo. This is to prepare you for the big fight on the rooftop garden, which has tons of spirits there as a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a big combat scene. And you get through there and you go to the end. There's this huge golden lotus that you need to blow up. And when you do this, a bunch of Wujing mages, geomancers, come up and attack. And it's really easy to keep them pinned down. Actually, they're all squishy mages.
I did this first.
Okay.
Is the first mission of the game, and it's much harder.
Yeah.
When you want to have some levels for this.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, they do a lot of damage, and they do area of effect stuff. So you have to be very careful about your spacing.
Yeah.
It's doing that good tactical CRPG thing where you heal people when you're close to them generally. But keeping people close to each other makes you vulnerable to grenades. Similar, just XCOM stuff.
Yeah.
Risk reward. when you leave, Isabel's like, yeah, I can tell this is bad. I can feel it. Like this is
Yeah.
really bad. And when you go back and you read the after action thing, it is like their stock drops like 2 points, and that was enough. Like we're dealing with such huge sums of money that made a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neat.
I love it. Just excellent use of the setting and the mythology.
Yep.
Yeah. Another great mission here. Exit stage left. This owns.
Yeah, this is real good. We get a message from a guy who wants to meet us in real life in the Mahjong parlor. And it's this film producer, Dr. Shen Yang, who's a real piece of shit. This guy seems like he kind of looks like he reminded me of Quentin Tarantino in like his facial expression. Like, he kind of looks like a punch doll.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that to me. He wants you to get blackmail on his competitor to stop them from releasing the second season of their very popular like soap opera, essentially.
Yeah. So I love this kind of corporate sabotage. It's neat doing Hollywood kind of stuff. No, like what a small thing, but there's actually money involved. They call like just regular 2D like non-sim stuff TRID. What's that a short for?
That's not 2D, that's 3D. That's Tridio.
3D video. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's just it's 3D movies.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the target is this producer, Neville Ya. And there's some suspicious stuff around him. He recently had a very severe car accident, but recovered suspiciously quickly, implying that he spent large sums of money, possibly that he's been embezzling from the studios. So like they were sent there to go and basically dig this up and use that as leverage to get him to fire the head star.
Yep. He wants you to go to the party. He's going to get you, there's a pseudonym for you, Argyle, and you want to dig something up, but he's like, don't cause a shootout. Don't go to a fight.
Right.
That won't work. You head in, you can get there's a little jack point in a closet where you can get his apartment number and door code. And you can get an invitation to the party. You can intimidate people. There are a lot of different ways you can do it.
Yeah.
Get into the party. When you're there, you can also get kind of bonuses for getting one of his stars out of her contract. There. That's kind of our secondary goal.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways of doing this here. You can go up to his room and investigate things, and then go down to the wait staff and be like, hey, I want to get into his like forbidden closet of mystery. Don't you want to stick it to that guy? You can bribe him. There's a lot of different ways to do this.
Yeah. Like I convince the star, the one we have to get out of the contract. I convince her like, hey, just Neville send a bunch of us up to check out his house. But still missing. Do you have the key fob? Or the door is still locked. Do you have the key fob for it? Stuff like that. We talk to when we talk to that star, we kind of get some information that this new person has shown up, but that's been hanging around the studio quite a bit, but Neville has never introduced her. You can talk to Neville about this and he says like, oh, the accident wasn't as bad as the news feeds made it look. Just this drone truck ran a red light. Welcome to the future. And we ask about this woman. She says, oh, her name is Miss Fang. She's this early investor from Eastern Tiger. So like there's a bunch of red herrings about what might actually be going on here. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. When you get into the apartment, regardless of how you get into that back room. Oh, when you're in the apartment as well, there is a straight up bottle of blood.
Yep.
Of wine. It's just like that you can drink if you want. Giving you a very strong hint of what's going on.
Yeah.
You get the fob some way, and when you get in and search his computer, there's nothing on the hospital where you learn more about this mysterious figure, this Miss Fang, and this person's not been giving him money. He's been giving her money. Yeah. All of his finances have gone towards gifts for her.
Yeah.
When you go to leave, we get to meet Miss Fang.
Yeah, I love before this, just as you're exploring the apartment, the soundtrack is Moonlight Sonata, but it's diegetic. Like somebody's back in the study playing this, and you can tell that it's diegetic because they fuck up.
Oh, that's great.
they fuck up and restart. Yeah.
I think I was playing this part in bed while Liv was sleeping.
Oh yeah.
So I must have missed that, but that's great.
But a bunch of mist forms around you. And then some people materialize. It's Miss Fang. I like that. That's
Yeah,
clever.
it's
It's
cute.
kind of cheesy, but yeah.
Yeah.
But she's a vampire and she has these thralls around her.
Well, also, who knows? But when we find out what we find out, who knows if it's real?
Oh yeah.
It could just be her being clever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, you're here to harm Neville. I can't let that happen." And you say, "No, I'm not. I'm just here to ruin his reputation, not his body." Um, she says, "Well, regardless, there's going to be a fight, but we can't draw attention. So let's do it on the rooftop." So we go up there and meet for a showdown at nighttime.
Yeah, sundown, and it's all very theatrical.
Yes.
And you go up there and you fight her and her thralls. She's tough. She has vampire powers.
Mhm.
The thralls are not too tough. But you can focus fire again, turn economy and stuff. Before she dies, she surrenders and she explains, what's actually happening here. She's like, wait, stop. Time out. And she's not like this dark mistress of the night vampire. She's just an accountant who got infected because in this world, vampirism is just a disease.
Right.
And she just she didn't know what to do. Like she couldn't go back to her old life. She now needs blood. So she just played into it.
Yeah.
She capitalized on her condition and she's doing it for fun. Like she's basically playing the role. She's also an actress.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love her so much because she's
great.
like, I just figured I'd become the vampire queen of this neighborhood,
Yeah. It's what I would do.
Yeah.
100%. She was ethical. She was just drinking blood from people in comas,
right?
Who, people who would not wake up. She ended up finding Neville near death. And he was going to die. She started, she healed him using her blood. Because she, and he left her the prospect of becoming her pawn in order to survive. It was this mutually beneficial deal, but it turns out they actually like each other. It's not this horrible, blackmail thing. They just actually really like each other.
Yeah, just like it's an arrangement that works out. Like neither of them is taking advantage. So it's like, well, I can't kill you, right? Like, I've got
okay.
Yeah, you seem okay. I've got a ghoul who, eats stuff ethically. Like, yeah, you're fine. Just go back, and it'll be cool to have a favor from a vampire. So just go with peace and love.
Yeah, Duckfeed has always been about euthanasia, but we're slowly moving. This is the first game in our step of it being okay to drink blood and eat human flesh, if you do it right. As long as you follow the rules, I don't think we have a real problem with it. Honestly.
Oh yeah. Now it's people aren't ready to talk about ethical cannibalism.
No, they're not. It's honestly not so bad. Follow my thoughts at PETA.com/crazyblog.
Please don't eat human flesh.
Yeah, I don't think it seems like a great idea.
I mean, prions,
Well, I mean, come on, don't be a killjoy. We're having fun here. But yeah, prions. But also just I don't know. I think it would squick me out pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm sure that the prion thing, there's got to be a fucking cannibalism community, and I'm sure that they're just people are like, hey, incest isn't so bad. Just oh, come on, it takes generations for defects to show up. Come on, prions, whatever.
Well, you get vasectomy and stuff. And maybe the prion not such a thing, but I can't imagine any meat being good enough to morally compromise. I say as I eat animals, but I mean to further morally compromise. If they introduced a new delicious animal that suffered 10 times as much, I don't think I would want to eat it because I'm pretty satisfied with chicken and swine and stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with with the moral compromises I've made. If I'm moving in a direction at all, it is not toward more suffering or exploitation. It is modest steps away from those things. So yeah.
I have I end up eating incidentally a lot of meals that are all vegetables.
Yes.
When I am feeling like meat or certain dishes, the meatless versions I think are bad. So it's not a question of giving up eating meat. It's more specific. It's do you want to give up eating chili? No, I like chili. I don't know. Chili's good. And
it's a good fast meal. Come on.
And vegetarian chili, I've never had one that tastes quite as good.
Yeah.
But I'm not about to like, there's not a food I can imagine that's good enough for me to eat humans.
Mm.
Like I imagine the best meat in the world. It's not that good.
Somebody broke the guppy firewall and brought up and brought up. Apparently, there was some dispute that I was supposed to resolve between you and Will about chili.
Oh boy. Yeah. Do you put cinnamon in your chili?
Fuck no.
See? Okay, thank you. I was saying like I put cinnamon in my chili because I like that. And Will's like, oh, la-di-da, that's really common. Everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, not everyone does. And we fought about it because that's the show. And then I was like, I have a perfect control case for this. Cole makes chili every month. He lives in the chili capital of the world. If he doesn't put, cinnamon in his chili, then it's not de rigueur.
Yeah. I didn't grow up in it. I didn't grow up with cinnamon in my chili. I've tried it, and that's just not the flavor profile that I want with it. No.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a preference thing. But my point was that it's not normal to have it.
Yes.
In your chili.
Yeah. So. I think people put bunches of weird stuff. Some people put chocolate in their chili.
I'll put a little chocolate in chili if I make it.
Go with God. Yeah.
I like a variety of bizarre chili spices. I'll put a little human flesh in my chili.
Hey,
they create a new animal that suffers 10 times as much. I'll put it in my chili. Like put a screamer pillar in my chili. Like do the whole thing, man. Like,
the screamer pillar would want to be in your chili.
Yeah, the screamer pillar is sexually attracted to being chili. Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Like late, by which I mean mid Simpsons. If it gave us nothing else, it did give us the screamer pillar.
It did give us screamer pillar and Father Give Me Tungsten.
Yeah, Father Give Me Tungsten. Also, I watched the Pie Man episode. That episode's pretty funny. That holds up pretty well. Like a YouTuber I watched was like, that's the best episode of season 15. And I was like, the best episode of any season is probably still worth watching. It's a funny fucking episode. Like there are a lot of good jokes in that episode.
I'm Gary. How many times do I need to tell you? You don't gotta hand it to post season 11 Simpsons.
I can't stop handing it to them. It's so delicious. That is the moral compromise I want to make.
Yeah,
I will not eat flesh, but I do like a good amount of by good amount I mean 1/4 of the total episodes of post season 11 Simpsons. It's still pretty crappy, but there's some gold there.
Oh man.
Anyway, you have a choice of how to deal with this. You can, die monster die. You can make her go her separate ways from him. You can let them live together and stuff. Mm-hmm. And as a favor, she will get that actress fired.
Yes.
So you can add her. What the client wants is for you to make them go their separate ways. Mm-hmm. When he's just like, I let her stay. Going to be buddies. He doesn't like that. But it's fine. You still get paid because you did the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the director, the target of it, calls him and gives him this very taunting and mean message.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I lost her, but who cares? I'm going to move on to the next thing. That's what you don't have. Like you're looking at all the wrong shit.
Yeah.
You're not a creative.
Yep. Good mission. Love it.
Yep. Really good mission. Also good, slighter, shorter, but a good mission. Is Uninvited Guest. This client wants you to kidnap this triad named Rooster during one of his monthly trips outside of his territory to eat at this restaurant. And he has this bodyguard who's very scary named the Talon you need to worry about. You get into this restaurant and there's a bunch of cool little things you can do here. This guy is a huge dick.
Oh yeah.
Nobody likes Rooster here, which is going to turn against him. And you find out, through kind of subterfuge and lying and stuff, that his bodyguard has a shellfish allergy.
So he takes him to a seafood restaurant.
He takes him to a seafood restaurant where he can barely eat anything.
Yeah.
Because he's a bad boss.
Yeah.
You convince the head chef to send up some shrimp, slip some shrimp into their food. Some sport shrimps. And then you can make these two businessmen fight. Go them into fighting in order to keep security busy so they won't interrupt you.
One of them's basically old Gil.
He's very old Gil, or the, and he's just like, man, things have been going bad. And he'd be like, it's suspicious. It's been going good for other people, huh?
Uh-huh.
And basically push them into it.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Yeah. And you go upstairs, and because of all of this kind of pre-work that I had done, Rooster's a soft target. Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny, with he's got the Talon with him, but he also has like another just like random guy who's a security, and he can just resolve this. Say like to the random guy, like, do you really like him enough to put up resistance on this? And he just runs.
He's like, fuck no. Nobody likes this guy. This guy's a huge dick.
It's a real smoke and aces situation.
Very much so. So he gets to add to your party, Rooster, as you get out, and as you're leaving, Talon comes out, and Talon's like, you keep fucking taking me to this restaurant, you treat me like garbage, I'm gonna kill you, because then I can take your place.
I love his character portrait.
Yeah, well, because he's all swollen because of shellfish. That's if you did that or not.
Yep.
And it makes him take poison damage every turn from being food poisoned.
Yeah.
There. So you do a pretty brief fight with him. The tricky part is keeping Rooster alive, but he was so far away from everything.
Oh yeah,
I just kept him in total cover.
There's a huge container, shipping container that he can hide behind, and everybody else starts closer to the restaurant on the other side of this very narrow bridge. Rooster was never in any real danger of dying. Yeah.
There's choke point here. Yeah. The big thing is the enemy has a heavy gunner, and I think they have a grenadier. So they can do some real damage if you can't deny it, make them all lose their turn.
Of course.
Like I can. This is the last of the side things. Then you start the end game here, which is like a series of missions.
Yes.
Here, starting with the extraction.
Yeah. So remember, Isabel had this friend named Dreamland who, had been doing some work related to cortical implants, who might have something that can help us with the plastic face man's, with his whole memory wiping thing. So you go to the tenement where Dreamland lives, and we find out she came to Hong Kong from Berlin after the Free State collapsed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just kind of a little flavor thing.
Yeah.
There's no real gameplay here. You convince her to help. Basically, the way I did it was by being vulnerable. Like, hey, this is because this is family stuff.
Yeah.
And she gives you a little taser, like pistol thing. This is the neural inhibitor. It will disable his cortical implant, but it takes 3 rounds to work.
Yeah.
So we have to hit him with it and then survive for 3 rounds, and he'll be knocked out before he can erase everything.
Right. So we need to figure out where the plastic face man is going to be and when. So we go to this place, this neighborhood, the Shing House Court, to get his itinerary from some deckers up there. The problem is when we get up there and talk to this decker, our contract was brought out by Josephine Sang, and this is an ambush.
Yes.
Yeah.
This guy is playing us. And he's set us up for a fight. It's an interesting encounter design. You pass by a guy in an apartment who's just like, get out of here. And he's the backup mage who arrives like a round later through here. There's also a little bit of you want to get the code from this guy to break into his storeroom because there's some good treasures on there as well. But you get these guys, you get the itinerary, and we get 3 different options for the next mission. There's 3 places we can hit him. There's a parking garage, his mistress's house, or the Simpsons theater where he watches horror movies. And they all have trade-offs. This is a moral choice.
Yes.
The parking garage has the most security, but the fewest civilians. The mistress's house has the mistress there, but has kind of medium security. And the Simpsons theater has no security, but there are lots of witnesses and civilians.
Yeah.
I went to the mistress's house.
Okay.
Because I was mad at this guy. Do not like this guy. So I was like, yeah, fuck her. You don't have to kill her. You can knock her out and stuff, but I went there.
Yeah. I went to the theater. True to form, it was, very light security. Like you just sneak up on him in the bathroom and there's one guy.
Mhm.
But you know, when you start the attack, he calls for the Hong Kong police force. You can kill him, but it's still out there. The neuralizer or whatever it is takes three rounds to activate. The Hong Kong police force is going to get there in two.
Yes.
So, you know, you hit him and knock him out, but then you have to have this firefight in the lobby of the Simpsons Theater. As far as I know, no civilian got hurt in this, which is good. So,
Mhm.
you know, moral decision is just kind of whatever.
Yeah, I think the idea. So the people who came after mine in the thing were not Hong Kong police.
Okay.
You know, so I think the idea is like these police arrive. I think they're where considered the civilians because they
Okay.
wouldn't have been there. Like the people who came for mine were Seng security
Gotcha.
folk. It was more, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's just three different arenas you can fight him in.
Mhm.
And you do an interrogation scene. It turns out the device does not stop the memory wipe; it just slows it down. So we had to ask our questions fast.
Yes.
And he's really amicable about
Mhm.
this whole thing. Like he's just like, "Oh, this is weird. I usually just wake up not having my memories." You know, all right, well, ask. I have no reason not to tell you you got the better of me. You literally got a gun to my head.
Yeah. And so you can ask, like you have a few different options. The way that it shook out for me, I asked him, okay, so what is prosperity? Right. He says, oh, you need to clarify tick tock, tick tock. Are you asking about the tower or about the project? Because the
Yeah.
project, like what's actually going on there, is secret even from me. It was something that was
Yes.
built inside the walled city.
Yep. So the walled city was the prosperity project, but there's also prosperity, the more specific proper noun. It
Yes.
sounds stupid the way we're describing it. It works in the game.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The we can check in about Raymond. You know, hey, is Raymond really dead? He plays this video of Josephine interrogating her son. He's not dead, but he is being about to be memory wiped.
Yes. Yeah, it's
There.
this machine that'll modify the memories because you can only see what's negative, right?
Yep.
She's trying to take away the knowledge of whatever prosperity is from
Yep.
him. Yeah.
Giving us our next little mini mission. He gets memory wiped, and he's like, "We can just walk away from this, right?" And different people want different things. Auntie wants him dead, and Duncan wants him dead. Isabel wants him to survive. I think Gobbet wants him to survive.
Yeah.
There are no consequences of this moral decision. You get an achievement one way or another.
Mhm.
I killed him because I figured the world was better without this guy.
Yeah.
He's not playing by the rules.
Nope.
Like all the rest of us Shadowrunners have to, have a reputation to protect our thing. He just kind of teched his way out of it.
Yeah.
So fuck
No.
this guy.
Can't happen. And work had bad discretion, right? Did
Yeah.
shitty jobs for bad person.
Yep. Which I don't do in this game. I
Mhm.
generally was playing as a good guy.
Yeah.
When you return to Hui, the air is very thick. Things are going bad. The dream is basically encroaching into the real world,
No.
and you have a hallucination of this little like nightmare you're in. You walk
Mhm.
a little bit, and you have to force yourself to kind of stop doing it. And when you do, this demoness appears in front of you,
No.
and we get the first glimpse of this. We've seen hints, but this is the first clear glimpse of this
Yeah.
character.
And she snaps to like rip your jaw off, and you wake up on the subway platform like you've walked back down walked back down there in your trance. Strangler Bao has stopped you from jumping in front of a train. Like
Yep.
this Yama King was piloting you into a suicide.
Really neat.
Yeah.
So now we want to go. We at least need to ask Raymond questions,
Yes.
to figure out where things are. We go back to the Mahjong parlor to figure out how we're going to do this. We reach lab 12 where they're keeping Raymond. This is a very complicated plan that
Yes.
you are doing, and it really relies on good decking.
Mm-hmm.
This ended up being and in a way that it follows the fiction. Like, and this does not bother me, but this was a total shit show for me.
Oh God, yeah.
I ended up fighting most of these guys, and it's fine.
Mhm.
I'm invincible, and I like the combat in this game. But this plan was too complicated and fiddly for me.
This mission ended up being like 5 times longer than any of the others.
I wanted to warn you at one point, like the end game of this is not a greased rail.
Yes.
Like you get to the end game and it's a comparatively short number of missions, but there's
Mhm.
a lot of content to them. And this is like, it is like multiple missions in one.
Yeah.
This and the next one are basically the equivalent of 2.5 missions.
Yeah. It's pretty big, and I understand, like, this is supposed to be a capstone, right? Like, this
Yeah.
is the big Shadowrun heist kind of deal, you know?
Yeah,
Where
the shadow. This is the big heist. The next thing is the big combat encounter and end game kind
yes.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we need to reach this lab 12. The plan is, we're going to go through this loading dock and we're going to try to be quiet, as long as we can. And this is where some of the past decisions start paying off. The
Hmm.
previous, remember when we ran into those other runners and kind of helped them out with that laser pistol. They were led by this guy named Bull. Isabel calls in this favor. And has gotten a scan of the tower's matrix systems. So the matrix system in this, they're all interconnected. And it's kind of a real bastard to navigate around. Like they end up being
Hmm.
kind of maze-like. This will provide some labels for what is where as you're going around.
Yeah, meaningful favor.
Yes.
Kindly Cheng also asks, while you're there, find something embarrassing against Josephine Seng, which we're motivated to do anyway. She's
Yeah.
evil. And as we kind of talk around town, everyone's leaving.
Yeah.
Everyone is getting out of here. Like, oh man, there are Yama Kings about. This is no good. I keep having nightmares that almost make me walk into subways.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a cold cut trio. I'm
No.
out. So yeah, it's no good. It's a real bad scene.
Yeah. Yeah. So we take the ride and we get to the loading docks. I use my corporate etiquette to say like, hey, I'm the new maintenance hire guy.
Yeah.
And go in and get some maintenance team uniforms and end up doing some work for the guy to get to the security checkpoint. I do the maintenance and like, okay, go over to this turbine. We got to fix this thing. And I sabotage it, so I have to go like write a report, like write my own disciplinary report in the security kind of section, and you can go in there and take out some of the security processes. Like it's fun, because you get to sabotage a thing. Little comedy of errors kind of deal. I did not see what actual benefit this gave me. Maybe it made the final encounter like maybe a little bit less long, but no idea.
What they explain, so the way it's supposed to work, and I don't know how this articulates because I biffed it, was the more of these you do, it slows down the response of the extra, like the security from other floors, basically.
Gotcha.
The security that is on the floor will naturally get alerted when things get alerted, but backup will arrive slower.
Yeah.
And it gives you more time to turn off the alarm. Again, though, like I'm
Combat
struggling in
is
the
not a
Matrix.
punishment. Yeah.
Punishment, yeah, combat's not a punishment, so I don't care. Also, I'm really struggling to succeed in the Matrix with Isabel
Yeah.
here, in part because she just does not have enough DPS, in part because I don't really like the way that the Matrix works in this game. I don't think it's great. So I was just like, yeah, like I did this first floor the same way, doing the jobs and making our way up. But on the next floor, things started going to shit. There's a real clever thing that happens here, similar to running into Shadowrunners. When you go to the second floor, the sales floor, and talk to the receptionist, you can say you're there to see Mr. Johnson, and she immediately is going to call security, but then somebody rings back and says, no, I'm expecting people.
She's like, I don't know what kind of establishment you think this is, but we don't. And like, oh yes, I'm Mr. Johnson. Send them back.
Yeah. And there's a guy there who wants to make a move against Josephine.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, hey, this is fortuitous.
Yeah.
I was looking to hire some Shadowrunners, and you're looking to be some Shadowrunners.
Yeah. You're right. You're right here. You landed right in my lap. So he'll give us this access card for the security booth. And all we have to do is while we're in the system, get in there and get him some foreign transactions data, which we can give to him. This also satisfies as embarrassing information for Kindly Cheng.
Yes. Yeah. So you're doing this, you're going through these different floors, this floor, and then the next one, the thaumaturgical research floor, in order to get into the computer and get the 2 passcodes you need to get to floor 12, which is where Raymond is. This one, if you biffed it, this is where the alarm goes off and guys just kind of flood in forever.
Yeah.
This is a pain,
Mm-hmm.
And you eventually just have to be able to get out.
It's so you can stop the guys from flooding in, but you have to get Isabel all the way across the floor and into hack into the security alarm. The problem is it's not labeled like which data jack will get you in there to do that. So like I ended up like needing to reload and say like, is it in this room? No, it's not.
Yeah.
I died. Okay. Well, is it in this room? Okay. No, it's not. I died. So this was, I think, the hardest encounter for me in the game, actually.
It's a kind of a pain.
Yeah.
Like this mission, I see what they're going for, but it doesn't totally work. I also think that's true for the next little bit
Yeah.
with the engrams.
Mhm.
When you get to floor 12, we find Raymond. We had to fend off security while Isabel is inside doing a puzzle. This is the thing I mentioned where security stopped showing up because I killed them all.
Yep.
And I just had to have everyone kill time in the real world while Isabel just did this over and over.
I did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You have a certain amount of time to go into these little dungeons and you find these engrams of memories of Raymond's life.
Yeah.
And then you take them to the central console and put them in the right order.
Yeah.
You know?
The problem with this is you only have 10 rounds to make this happen. 10 rounds of real time, which I don't know how many rounds of Matrix time it is. I spent a bunch of time doing this mission like it was, and then ran out of time and had to do basically the entire thing over again, doing shitty Matrix combat with Isabel and her very bad deck, doing no DPS, even with all the stuff summoned and even using all my spells and stuff.
It's a really interesting stress point of the game. Like this is probably the low point of the game to me.
Yeah.
This section, but I bet you it plays just fine if you played as a decker.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would have very strong, backup in meat space.
Yeah.
Because you were a decker, you wouldn't have Isabel, out. So you could either have her there with her grenade launcher, or you'd have like Gaichu, Ractor, and Duncan would have your back. And I imagine this is a pretty exciting encounter.
Yeah.
If you were efficacious in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Which I was not.
Not at all.
Yeah. You stick them in and you can pull Raymond off and bring him, and he's real baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
They really, really turn up the sad sack old man on him. He's, well, are we in Subway? Yeah, baby. You can choose your posture.
Yeah.
You're like how much you forgive him or not.
Mm-hmm.
I played pretty harsh with Raymond. It turns out like he is a morally complicit person who is trying to fix it. But it is a really bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was just kind of like, all right, well, there's no sense in being cruel to this person when they are in such a bad state,
Yeah.
and he is still useful. And it's like, all right, like nothing you did changes the fact that you're my dad and that I need you right now. So like, we're just going to keep going. I was all business about it pretty much.
Yeah. You can either be affectionate business or rejectee, but the same thing happens.
Yes.
The Prosperity Project was not the walled city, but it was a machine that was built inside the walled city. The walled city. The walled city. Yeah. Kind of an accident, but true. The machine was kind of churning the chi and ended up ripping this hole in reality. And Raymond's like, she's there, the queen with 1,000 teeth.
Yes.
This device he made, great name. And she literally, puts her money where her mouths are. She collects teeth.
Yep.
That's why people in town are losing their teeth. That's why your molar fell out. It's great. This thing that he built that opened this gate was he built a fortune engine. This is the super cool plot at the heart of Hong Kong, right? Like,
yes,
the plot of this game is not as good as Dragonfall at all, but this is a really cool idea. There's a feng shui machine that creates this negative fortune vortex. That the idea was, it was going to eventually stop it from, be positive for this, but it didn't work that way. It broke. It didn't keep the chi moving, got stuck because it hit something in astral space. Yeah. So not only did that let the Yama Kings in, but it started pooling this negative chi. So this area that is like one of the grimmest places on earth, like most dire places on earth, is that way because luck like can't exist in it.
Yeah.
You can't have fortune in it. And they channel that luck where we're going to learn that luck gets channeled somewhere.
Yeah.
This is a very blunt metaphor for class issues.
Yeah. I was going to say, we're in the subtlety zone.
We are in the subtlety zone, but it's not a specific one that I've seen before. Right. So like the argument, the metaphor of this is that this is something that the wealthy actually do by keeping people of underclasses oppressed and everything. They do save money. It does result in their good fortune. Like if you build a slum, you get money. The city is going to give you money. You're going to get kickbacks, all these things. And it is horrible. You've built a low quality, like a food desert with poor infrastructure.
Yes.
For people to slowly while away their lives, they will have a harder time with this concept of fortune. You know, fortune as it objectively exists, not fortune as in like literal luck, That's
Mhm.
the metaphor stretch here. But fortune is like opportunity,
Yeah.
you know?
They they exist in a space where they can be neglected and contained,
Yes.
and therefore that frees up all kinds of stuff outside. Just it is like literally a negative fortune area,
Mhm.
like a low pressure front kind of
Mhm.
deal, where that lets the high pressure fortune kind of rush in around it. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh well, we found a benefit for things just continuing to suck there, so let's just keep that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's that turned up to 11 and made literal, which
it's not a subtle metaphor, but it uses the pieces of the setting well, I think.
uses the piece of the setting well. And it's one I haven't quite seen,
Yes.
where through this lens, like the
Hmm.
idea of this being like literally uh, feng shui, like this is a fortune engine.
Yeah.
It's neat. And you can be like, that's not real. And people can be like, yeah, it is. Like no, you can do that. Like that's, mages
Mhm.
here can do that.
Yeah, it's the same argument for everything. You never want to say that's not real because all they have to say is President Dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, this is ludicrous. I'm going back to dragon country, you know? It's real neat. And the idea that this thing plays in this realm that they only kind of understand. In addition to it playing with this force that is real, it
Hmm.
hits something that is real. Like it hits this
Yes.
mythological thing. Like the rudder just literally ran into a Yama King who was like, hello. And just,
Yeah.
came in here.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I mean, and
Pretty neat.
the machine is kept running because Josephine says, "Oh, it's not worth the resources to stop or fix it. So let's
Yeah.
just encase it in concrete and let it go." It is just continued running and
Yeah.
opening the gap further and further as the Yama
Yeah.
King is able to seep out more and more.
Yeah. Big, again, also just because, and not just comparing everything to this, but then putting in a concrete sarcophagus, like his big Chernobyl
Hmm.
thing, like cursed place,
Yes.
because with something that may as well be magic,
Hmm.
you know. Raymond fled and he spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to stop it, but he kept being haunted by these dreams as
Yeah.
the person who lit in the Yama King. This is no good. And the Yama King is going to be able to get out. It's tearing a hole big enough for realities to transgress
Yes.
here.
Bad news. So we need to get in there and stop it.
Yep.
And our neighborhood, Hoy, it's in real bad shape. People were fleeing before. Now
Hmm.
there's bloodshed. There are dark storm clouds churning overhead, and the streets are bloody. Like there have been fights here on the perimeter of the walled city.
Yeah. Sanity is low.
Yes.
You go in there and you have to split up your crew. One team clearing a path, the other team protecting Raymond. To
Hmm.
get in there because he thinks he knows how to turn it off.
Yes.
Who'd you end up taking on your final team here? Eventually, you get
Um,
access to everybody at once, but it's
yeah.
moot.
My final team on this was I was the one I took all the whole time. It was me as the street samurai, Isabel Gaba and oh gosh,
Ractor
Ractor. Yeah. I want to call him
nice
Rigger, but that is his occupation.
class.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I ended up the last time I played, I ended up sending Duncan with Raymond because I was
Hmm.
playing it as more sympathetic, like
Yeah.
trying to get Duncan to forgive him.
Reconcile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here I was playing it more, no, you're right to be mad. This guy kind of fucking sucks. So I took Duncan with me. I also wanted to see if he had different things to say.
Hmm.
And because I had this like very bro relationship with Gaichu, I put Gaichu in charge of
Yeah.
taking care of my adopted father
Hmm.
here. Or eventually you'll get access to everybody.
Yeah.
When you get there, everyone is corrupted. This is a low sanity zone. So
Hmm.
the triad, people who work for Kindly Cheng, are under the sway of the queen. Like they're losing it. So are these Seng operatives here.
Yeah.
Like this is a multi-part like fight that's going
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
You have to kind of talk your way past a lot of people or fight your way past a lot of people. You're with
Hmm.
natives, triad people, and Seng operatives as different sides.
Yeah, lots of choke points. We reach one that seems, like so this is going to turn into a fight, and we don't want to have to deal with it. Then this cloaked figure descends and kills everybody, and rips out their throats, or what have you. And this is another choice paying off. It is good to have a vampire owe you a favor. Here is Ku Feng, Uh,
Mhm.
ready. She wants to drink the Yama King's blood, get some
Yeah.
of that queen blood in her. So she joins our team.
Love it.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's
It
powerful. Like she's good. She's got those vampire abilities.
it's really cool when a good boy point decision in a game
Mhm.
actually has a gameplay effect as well.
I think a huge thing that makes that matter, like makes it feel less like a good boy point kind of thing, is the delay in the
Yeah.
response here. You could have done the exit stage left, a while ago. It might have been 10 hours ago. It's a 30-hour game, right? So you can't have forgotten Ku Feng because she's a great NPC. All hail the Vampire Queen, but like it just you do not expect that to factor in at this point, as opposed to if she was like, oh, and I will give you 500 credits because you spared my life. That's lame. No.
Yeah. 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 It's also a different articulation than the mummy that you can summon now.
Yes.
That's really cool too that you get this mummy summon. But again, that's not as powerful. This
Yeah.
comes at exactly the right point
Hmm.
for it. It's great. I really like it. When you run into some Seng commandos and you're going to attack them, but then demons spawn in. The Yama King has these servants that pop up,
Yeah.
so it's again another 3-way fight with you against both sides.
I love these
Uh,
things. They're like real big and floppy. They have these crescent shaped heads and they're covered with teeth.
Yeah, they're great looking. You get to the city center and Ku Feng leaves you at this point. I'm going to be the only monster queen in the building. Like I'm out.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you can tell her like, hey, not bad for an accountant. Like, yeah,
yep,
okay. You're going places, kid.
yep, very good. You eventually get to this building full of bodies, like people are just dying left and right. And a man comes up to you, this raving lunatic. His mouth is bleeding because he's ripped out all his teeth and he's ripped out his tongue, or
Yeah.
ripped out all his teeth to stop the queen from taking
Yeah.
control. It doesn't work.
Nope.
Nope,
Everybody,
she's too powerful.
yeah, too powerful. Everybody slaughtered each other anyway.
Yep.
And then we reach the immediate exterior of the Fortune Engine. And when we try to open the door, Kyon Ya, the queen, kind of appears alongside some demons. And there's some brief dialogue here, and the battle begins.
Yep. So this starts off with a very video game ass thing. She's behind a force field, this wall of fire. You have to snuff out these candles that are around. Like take down the generators to bring down the shields. Like video games, everyone.
Yep.
And while she's invincible, she'll summon in demons. A pro tip for this is the more ads you have, the easier this is. So if you have Raktor on your team, like if you had Raktor, you were a rigger, and then you had Gobbet with you.
Oh yeah.
You have 3 extra bodies.
Mhm.
That makes a really big difference in going and just turning things off.
Yeah, because they can snuff the candles just fine.
Yes. Yeah. When you take her out, after you take out the candles, kill her, and you can clean up the demon, she's not too hard.
Yeah.
And this is when you're like, yeah, I bet you we didn't actually kill her. And Gobbet's like, yeah, no, she's still around. I can still feel her. She's just putting herself back together.
Mm-hmm. So there's this big swirling pool of toxic key. Somebody must have disheveled some papers on a desk here. And you go and step through it and you enter her domain. Love this. I love that this is just, a biome that they save for this climatic encounter. Everything is mouth here. Like there are waist high walls of cover, but they're walls of teeth and gums. There are huge red pillars of veins and stuff. Like you're inside of an organic hell world.
Reminded me a little bit of Grime.
Yeah.
That Souls like we did, with the teeth growing out of stuff and everything. Like
God,
teeth are pretty fucked up.
If you think about it, Sir Skeleton saying hello.
Yeah. It's no good. They're really no good. I just it's really cool. Like this is shock and awe for a game with this kind of graphical modesty. They're doing a cool art choice to make this look neat.
Yeah.
It's not too tough of a fight. Again, action economy rules all. The way that they kind of try to balance this is another cliche. She has minions that will heal her. You have to take them out, but then you just focus fire on her.
This ends up being a lot easier actually because there's more cover in this than there is in the previous.
Teeth everywhere. Pull up a tooth.
Yeah. Set a spell. But yeah, you kill her and she says, "Oh, you have not even glimpsed my true form." This is
Yeah.
form 3 of question mark.
Yeah.
And you're kicked back out into the real world, and Raymond and Duncan and the others showed up for, I had sent Duncan with him. I love when Duncan shows up. He's like, oh shit, she's real. Like
Yeah.
he'd
It's
gone through all of this.
like,
It's like
it's gotta, I mean, it's gotta be pretty fucking,
yeah, yeah.
real shocked this isn't there,
I'm not saying it's an unreasonable response. It's just a very funny and well timed
Yeah.
thing for him to say.
She recognizes Raymond, she's like, oh, you're the builder. You're the one who let me out. When I build my city, you will have a place at my side, as this eternally living symbol of man's folly. It's a really good, like, Satan
Yeah.
kind of perspective and stuff. And because she's a devil, and because, lawful evil is a very interesting alignment for a villain,
Mhm.
the most interesting villain alignment, she proposes a deal. She's like, listen, consider these people gone. Like,
Yeah.
this city is mine. These people are mine. You never think about it again. I will stop encroaching to the real world, but you leave this alone. In
Mhm.
exchange, you can have 14 years of good fortune. Everything will go right for you.
Yeah.
That's a really fun, abstract thought to think about.
It is. Yeah.
You know?
Because you have to start wondering, like, how much in my life is ruled by luck? I mean, I'm not a
Yeah.
superstitious person, but also it's not nothing.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, luck, when people are like, luck isn't real, it's just a name for something that is definitely real,
Yeah.
which is happenstance. Like, I
Uh-huh.
consider myself to be very lucky,
Yeah.
in a general sense. Like, I've got this job, got my fiance, like, things are going good for
Mhm.
Gary right now. There's a degree to which I have earned that,
Mhm.
and that, but there's also a degree to which it's not.
Yeah.
And that whatever wasn't directly me, that's luck,
Mhm.
and just thinking about that being only upside,
Yeah.
like, is a really fun idea.
Yep.
Like, there are people who have charmed lives,
Mhm.
like, even when I was not feeling particularly lucky, like, I would have, people, acquaintances or things, that I would know. And I'd be like, oh, this person's really getting it. Like,
Mhm.
everything is going right for this person.
Yeah.
They're maybe working like a little bit, but it doesn't feel like their outcome is commensurate with their input.
Mhm. And I mean, also it governs all scale of things in your life too, you know?
Yeah.
So, just yeah, just by nature of the way probability works, there are some people who get, more heads than tails when they flip the coin,
Yeah.
right? If you look at everything, and this is a way for you to become one of them. And like what's great about that is, again, what is the value of this? It's not nothing, but also she's not saying I will make you the richest person in the world or whatever. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
fortune
It's
will go your
fuzzier than
way.
that,
Yeah.
which is really cool. And what she's asking for in exchange is awful.
Yes.
Just, I will have control of this. People will keep living here. Like, people will be
Mhm.
sent here because that's the socioeconomic system that I have nothing to do with. Like, when we talk about this metaphor being not subtle, it's something that's built on top of the metaphor.
Yeah.
It's like a force multiplier. It's not a replacement,
Yeah.
because she's saying, if I do this, I don't have to worry about these people all dying.
Uh-huh.
Like, more people will be sent here all the time because you've already created a hell on earth outside of this,
That
that
is
this
such a
even exists.
that is such a good idea. The idea
Yeah.
that, like, the devil does not create the hell, or at least this one didn't. There was a hell that was made, and a devil decided to come in and
Moved
take it
into it.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made a hermit crab shell for
Yeah.
a devil. It was us.
Mhm.
It's part of why I felt okay with Raymond being tortured for eternity.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, again, it's a chew toy. I'm playing a video game. I'm a dog with a chew toy. I wouldn't do that in real life, probably.
Yeah.
But it's it's really good. Like, the story, whenever this gets brought up, even just in my own head compared to Dragonfall, I need to remind myself of the ending. Because I think
Yes.
this ending, this is as rich and cool as the story of
Mhm.
Dragonfall.
Yeah.
It's just leading up to it is a lot more pat.
Yes.
This is great, though.
Mhm.
This is interesting, and it stands with the best.
Yes.
The counter proposal you can give her, you can accept this.
Mhm.
If you do, Gobbet, Isabel, and Duncan will fight you.
Mhm.
Gaichu and Ractor will not. They're like, no,
Right.
that sounds awesome. And you do an inter-team fight as your final boss.
Good stuff.
That's a cool idea. You've been outfitting them this entire time. You know their tactics. That's really neat. The golden ending comes between a counter proposal where you can basically do a gambit and say, if this person, if you do this, you are going to be pissing off the other Yama Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you're going to be hoarding in on their situation, and there are rules about that
Yeah.
that you're breaking by making this bargain.
Mm-hmm.
You can strong harm her with that. That only works if you've learned all of the Yama King lore.
Yes.
If you do a counter proposal, like how about a counter proposal, I don't kill you, anything like that, that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
The only counter proposal that works is using the rules against her, and you have to know all the rules for that to work.
Yeah, which is say you're asking me to deliver something that I can't give you.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the so if you do that, actually the walled city belongs to Marge Simpson. Then there's no fight, and Raymond is okay, and you reconcile. Otherwise, though, you do get into a fight. She refuses, and you get into a fight, but you have your whole team, which is real fun.
Yeah.
For the first time, it's very chaotic. It's a really, really big melee, but it's fun to have everyone together.
She went down. If it was more than one round, I will be very surprised.
Yeah, it is also very easy. And she's not dead, yet. She's still just in the other realm. Raymond rushes up to the panel, and he says he can't shut it down. There's too much flow that's going into it. If I sever that flow, this is going to leave tons of people, all these thousands of people here as husks. Their spirits will be trapped in here. However, if it's closed from the other side, it'll be fine. Duncan immediately is like, I'll do it. Because he's a very dramatic little guy. And Raymond insists that he'll do it.
Yes. And, there are options for how you can, talk about this in the epilogue kind of stuff. It's like, this is what he came here to do. Like, he was fully aware this is probably what it was going to entail. So, and like, there does need to be a payment that is exacted on this.
Yeah. I love the idea of, again, like when you can do those, like, no witnesses thing. Like, if you play this as really mean, it's like, don't let the fucking mystical gate hit you on the asshole, man. Like, just so brutal. Like, I didn't do it. I was just like, go well, Raymond, but you can be really, really brutal about this, about somebody going to get tortured by the Queen of Teeth.
Get in the hell, Raymond.
Yeah. Raymond, eat the hell. Raymond, eat the teeth. Eat the teeth, Raymond. Raymond, just eat the teeth. It's very mean. But yeah, you do it. And we get this little, him narrating over this cutscene. The machine shuts down, and he is now tortured for eternity.
Yes. Whoopsie.
Yep. And now we're in epilogue mode. We have a playable epilogue.
Yes.
Where we're going and checking out the walled city and the kind of aftermath.
Yeah, we walk out. There's a barricade of cops here, but they're too busy to see us. There's a journalist here who looks for all the world like Jeremy Parrish.
It's just because Jeremy Parrish dresses like a journalist. Like he does.
Okay.
He's got sartorial choices, and he's a man. I like Jeremy a lot. He is a man who has a very specific sartorial sense.
Yes, he has a cultivated aesthetic. I'm talking in the facial
facial structure. He does kind of this is about the cover up. Like basically he's doing the gas leak, and you'd be like, it wasn't a gas leak. There's a fucking Yama King, and he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Things are just going to go on as normal. You can check this news screen where Josephine Seng is giving an interview about in the wake of this gas leak or whatever, I'm going to be redoubling my philanthropic efforts. Just horseshit.
Usual corporate shit. So you return to headquarters. So you go to the mahjong parlor and talk with Auntie Cheng. She's like, "What in the hell happened? What happened to all my men?" And we explain. And she's like, "Oh yeah, no, just I had a chance to make a deal with the Yama King once. Fu Mang spoke to me, and there's a deal, right? He wants the hearts of 44 people who are close to you, and there are people who are just kind of on this quest to make as many friends as possible." To ingratiate themselves so they could sacrifice them. She's like, nah, fuck that. She refused.
That's so crazy. That's so many people. I do not know who the 44 people closest to me are. I feel like Yama King Fu Mang could probably make up in bulk if he considered some kind of lost leaders on this. 10.
An
You know?
introductory price,
Yeah,
you
like
know?
there should be some kind of discount like Comcast. Like you bundle the hearts or something. Like you can do 44 hearts or 10 hearts and 10 livers
Yeah,
for a discount.
20 hearts and 40 livers, or 20
Yeah.
hearts and 40 kidneys, right? You can
Yeah.
take kidneys.
And people will live, and those people can be close to you. And then
Yeah,
the hearts, though, that's quite a few people.
yeah.
Uh, so as you're kind of talking to Kindly Cheng about this, Strangler Bao walks in and says like, "Hey, I have really good news. Blah 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 died," and everyone's real happy. You're like, "What is that?" It's the person ahead of her on the ladder.
Yes.
Everyone's going to get promoted. And she says, "Okay, like tell everyone for the next 2 weeks, get all the medical supplies that are coming in, steal them. Tell
Mhm.
everyone that debts are, you're in
Frozen.
forbearance
Yeah.
basically until this is over." Like she starts doing PR immediately to get
Yes.
this position.
Mhm.
It's very canny. Kindly Cheng is a great character.
I love her.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, Kylie Chen gives us some more good news, but it comes with a bit of a shadow over. It says, "Hey, somebody lifted your APB. I have no idea who it was, and that bothers me."
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Done, done, done.
Yeah.
You tell her what happened with Raymond closing the door. And she kind of puts a little bit of a blanket on everything.
Yes.
She's like, you did help some people for a while, but people get used to anything.
Yeah.
Change keeps coming. And she talks about the awakening. Like it was, she lived through this. She saw everyone turn into fantasy races and then Vetus come and kill 1/3 of the population. And
Mhm.
now that's just history,
Yeah.
and that's true. That's where
Mhm.
we are right now with the real Kowloon Walled City, right? Like
Yep.
this thing that there just was this ridiculous, surreal place of human suffering,
Mhm.
and humanity in general. Like I'm sure that there was joy in everything there as well. There's a
Yeah, yeah.
culture there, but this place that was uh, a middle finger to humanity. The idea
Mhm.
that we make this incredibly densely packed misery zone that people just don't know about.
Mhm.
Like I bet you take a random poll of 100 people on the street, half of them maybe know about it.
Yeah.
Atrocities do become history
Mhm.
and become forgotten.
Yeah. And just like, yeah, humans can get used to anything. So like, yeah, you're like you've helped, some people, but just try and keep it in perspective, right?
Yep. Raymond will get used to being eternally tortured by the Queen of Teeth. It'll be like going to sleep. You return to the boat. Everyone is sitting around. Nobody can sleep. Like everyone's
Yeah.
very tired, but they're debriefing.
Yeah.
Everyone deduces that the reason why Josephine Tseng wanted to stop you is because that fortune engine was siphoning the good luck off to her.
Yes.
Which we talked about earlier, but this is where it's actually revealed.
Mhm.
And when you go to bed, it ends the game. You have a chance to go check in with your team.
Yeah. So you can talk with Gaichu and, he asks what I have planned. Then I say, I don't know, no way to tell. And he talks about the benefits of being a Ronin, kind of seeing a a commonality between us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 8 times down, 9 times up.
Yes.
Like being a Roman. I talked to Ractor and he's going to stay in town. This is a great place for him to continue his plans to kind of help push for this post-human society.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, will you be at my side with this? And it's just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, bud.
Yep. Yep. You talk to Isabel. Isabel says, what Tseng was doing to Raymond made her rethink wiping her own memories. Like he almost lost all his memories and it was very traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
Should I keep mine? Should I get rid of them?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about wiping them, but Tseng's holding me back.
Yeah.
And you can basically just say like, make your, I can't tell you what to do. It's your own choice here.
Mm-hmm.
She chews on that. This is actually all of the little character epilogues to this are a little bit disappointing.
A little bit.
Just because not a whole lot happens with them. It ends up working with the fact that there is a extended campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Like the story doesn't necessarily end here.
Right.
This is the end of this story, but there is a miniature and specifically closure for Duncan because Duncan doesn't have anything particularly profound to say about this whole thing.
I don't even think he was just got like dialogable here for me.
You can't talk to him when everyone's gathering. You can talk to him in his room, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But there's not a whole lot to it.
Yeah.
And it's because his stuff is in the DLC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Gawit doesn't really have anything to say other than, wow, it was pretty cool that we, punched a god in the face, right?
Yeah. And it is. You go to sleep, no one has any nightmares. You just shadows. Like Shadowruns. Dun 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 dun. And then you get a little epilogue slide that talks about Josephine Singh's fortunes drying up after these riots. Her culpability and everything was leaked. The stock plummeted. Wuxing bought her company, and she now rots in a corporate prison. She's literally just not getting the luck anymore.
Yep. And, if you're just incredibly lucky, you're probably not developing the compensatory muscles to deal with the stuff. Yeah.
And that's the end of Shadowrun Hong Kong, unless you play that DLC mission, which is good and worth playing.
Yeah. Good game. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I kind of said the stuff that I wanted to say and the generalities on this, like this is, like a good level of complexity on the combat for me, personally here. There's, good variety. I think they really, especially worked on like variety of using this gameplay model to do different stuff, different kinds of missions, which worked out really well. And the story grew on me, right? It's it is a cool hook. I wish that it was, kind of a little bit more directed and inventive on the on the way there. But whatever. Like it ends up in a cool place, and it is a good companion, I would say, to to Dragonfall. Like I would not discourage or steer anybody away from this. And in fact, I would say the kind of the reputation that it has is not well deserved. Like it still rules.
As gamer kind, we have got to stop doing like letting the great be the enemy of the good. With that, like we do a real disservice, and I include us in this because we compare things as well. This kind of thing. We're not without sin in this, but just the idea that something has to be the best version of it to be worthy is silly.
I mean,
especially with things that are so rare on their face.
Yes.
There just aren't enough games like this. Like it's not unique. There are games like this. There aren't enough that a really, really good one needs to be jettisoned into the forgetosphere because it's not as good as Dragonfall or Wasteland 3.
I have said different versions of this at different times, maybe about different games or whatever, but if you are waiting or holding everything next to Dark Souls or Disco Elysium, that is a really good way to not be very happy with the stuff that you consume.
Yeah. And the pie is so big. Like I remember, very first season of Bonfireside Chat playing Dark Souls. I remember being like, how would I go back to like God of War? Like how do I play a very simple action game for this? And the answer is, I don't. Like Dark Souls did kind of obviate that for me. The old God of Wars don't stand up for me really right now, but that's fine because there's so many other things that just I go to for different things.
Yeah.
This kind of, there's so many things on the menu. You can find the thing you enjoy, get a lot of it, and you don't just need the best thing of it. You're not, watching movies as if you only watch the AFI's top 100 movies of every genre. You can pick a genre that you like, and then it's okay to just really like a B+ game in that subspace.
Yeah.
Like I like this more than games that are considered much better than it. It's just like more my shit. And, very, very good on its own right. Some deft writing, and yeah, I like it quite a bit.
Good stuff.
Very good stuff. I really would like Herbane's Schemes to start doing Shadowruns again.
Yeah,
pretty badly.
I am waiting with bated breath for what they're going to do next.
Yeah, it's a good developer. Like quietly, like one of the, there aren't tons of this kind of like A to AA, indie-ish developers, like somewhere in between.
Yeah.
They are at a very, they end up being not a unique size, but there aren't tons of people in that exact space, I think. So good for them.
Yeah.
And good for everyone listening to this. CRPG month.
CRPG month. Another one down. I would be lying if I said I was not extremely relieved to have these off of my plate. They do hang heavy over me in terms of playtime and stuff. It's a lot.
I end up feeling similar for any time we do a big multi-part thing. I just want it off. Like it makes me nervous. I always beat the game before we record about it, or try my best to. So like this happened with me with Final Fantasy 12 as well.
Yeah.
This year, like I just want to have this very, very long thing over with. Like it ends up, even if I'm enjoying it, it's just kind of the reality of being able to cover long games.
Yeah.
And we can't just do 20-hour or less games.
Nope.
It won't work. There are too many games that are much longer than that. And that's good. It's good that there's both. So yeah. This was to me was a very nice reprise from last year of Fallout 4, which took a long time.
Oh my God, that was a 100-hour game.
With DLCs and stuff. Like I like that game. I like those episodes a lot. I look forward to this as a change of pace. I'm glad that every month of the show is not a 100-hour game.
Yeah.
That would be unsustainable.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. If you're hearing this, you are on the public feed. Unlike most months, rather than having a preview episode and a private Patreon episode, this month we just have a Patreon episode because we didn't want to split this up into two. If you are a patron, if you go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and give us $5 a month, you get our bonus episodes, all the old ones, and this month, which is about arcade games.
Yeah.
Should we announce what we're covering?
We ought to. Yes. Yeah. This will be the third of these that we have done. And each of us are going to be covering 2 games apiece.
Yes. I am doing Mappy, my favorite maze chase game, and then doing Strider, which is a graphical tour de force.
Yeah. I am excited to hear about both of those. I don't have a lot of experience with them. I'm gonna throw in and play. I'll throw a couple of quarters into them.
Yeah,
by quarters, I mean the just emulator, because I don't have those at my local arcade. Instead, what I have, I'm doing Paperboy and I'm doing Smash TV.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
arcade classics this month. Paperboy was on my short list. I love Paperboy. The version of it that's on the little home arcade that I have, is tricky.
How so?
So it really benefits from having the actual bike controls, because you want analog acceleration.
Yes.
If you don't have analog acceleration, you're constantly toggling the brake.
Yeah, and that's no way to live.
It's also how I played on the NES.
Yes.
And so I love Paperboy. That was very, it was on my short list of things to do. So I'm looking forward to hearing your deep dive on it because Paperboy owns. And Smash TV is great. Not the originator of the dual stick shooter, but a really, really good version of it. Robotron was also on my short list of things to do. We're kind of sticking in the 80s this time, early and mid 80s, but I think that's okay for a Patreon special arcade episode.
Yeah.
And we're kind of sticking to hits. We're doing some, really nice wide variety of genres and stuff. Yeah. It's a good spread.
Yep. So you'll get those if you're a patron, just like you'll get all the premium episodes. Just a reminder of what we're doing next month. In January, regular episodes are going to be, oh my gosh, What Remains of Edith Finch, Heretic, and the premium episode is going to be Hades.
Indeed. Yeah. Next episode is going to be our dispatch, where we will talk about what we're doing the month after that. So look forward to that. We have cool stuff planned for next year.
We do.
We have cool games on the list. But we also have a couple of announcement things that they're still kind of in the hopper. We'll talk about them a little bit more. If you are hearing this, Duckstream has happened already. We appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah.
Assuming you did, which of course you did, because why wouldn't you? Tuning in and donating. We really appreciate it. No highlight this month. If you are a non-cis, non-straight, non-white guy, and you do a project and you'd like to hear us highlight it, please send me an email at Gary@Duckfeed.tv. Make sure you have stuff we can link to.
Yes.
Make sure that we have the website, things that we can point people towards.
This is the Thursday before Christmas. If you celebrate, please have a good holiday. Have a good New Year. Although I guess we'll say that next week. But have fun and be safe. Always be safe, especially if you're traveling. Yeah.
And we appreciate you. Good year for us. Hopefully a good year for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully your fortunes are going well.
Yeah.
What should they watch out for until next time, Cole?
I mean, Watch out for some people coming in to jar your pots and pans.
Yeah. Guard your teeth.